to fuck around this week.
No.
So we are in the year of our horrible Satan 2020.
Yes.
And E3 is no longer a sprint. It is a marathon, which means that it's been roughly like a month and a half since I've answered any questions on this show. Oh, actually,
we did that
2
one
weeks.
episode.
2 weeks. But last week we had Ubisoft. We had Ubisoft and Devolver Digital. This week we've got Microsoft. We've also got some Nintendo stuff. We also have just a full week worth of news.
Yes.
That's the thing that about this no E3 bullshit. You remember how during E3 it used to be that like there was no news because
No.
E3 was going on?
No.
And now it's like there's E3 going on and there's news. And by the way, E3 happens like once every 2 weeks.
Also,
So-
apparently Comic-Con's this weekend.
Ugh, don't even get me started.
We're not going to bring up anything.
We're not going to Comic-Con.
There's nothing really there so
Comics, God, comic book nerds. This is a video game podcast. Welcome back to the Rage Select Video Game Podcast. No comics allowed. I'm Jeff.
far. Mike.
Actually, I would have to kick Michael out because half the time he shows up in some kind of usually have
true.
at least one item of clothing on that has some comic on it.
Okay.
I don't think today you do. But
Well, I think Dragon Ball counts.
is this Dragon Ball?
It's a manga.
That's a comic book.
It's a manga. Yeah.
That's something.
That works.
So yeah,
And my Superman windshield or thing.
yeah,
Yeah,
yes,
there's that too,
You
by
have,
default.
you have a lot. You have a lot of superhero stuff, and I'm being facetious anyway. So
I don't wear my Green Arrow shoes anymore, though. It's an actual thing I have, by the way.
I am not going to scratch that itch. That's a trap. Admiral Akbar told me.
absolutely was.
I know we're going to end up spending 45 minutes talking about Green Arrow, and then we're going to have to do this podcast at light speed. It's like, okay, now that we've wasted 90% of our time, let's do all the announcements from the Xbox show. No, we are
green,
going
it counts.
to start with the Xbox show. We're not even going to do what have you been doing last week because I ain't done shit. And there's
What we were doing was we were watching the Xbox game
watching the
showcase.
Xbox Games Showcase. Yeah, we actually are recording this like a few hours after this happened.
Pretty much,
So,
yeah.
all right, let's go. It's time. It's time
Yes.
for Xbox.
It's just time.
Actually, wait. Before we go, I was just tease everybody, just tickle a little bit more.
All right.
Is this the end of it? Like
The end of what?
The end of the whole like this represents. I think we have now seen, unless Bethesda has something up their sleeve that they want to do, this would be we have had the equivalent of our normal E3. No, Nintendo.
Nintendo's
Normally we
really
would have had a
shown
bigger
anything.
Nintendo thing.
Yeah, they only had the mini, and even then at the end of the Xbox one, they're like, we might show stuff more later on.
Right. Right.
But even then, I don't know if that counts, kind of thing.
Oh my god, it's gonna keep going, isn't it? This
Yeah.
fucking we gotta beat this. We gotta beat the virus so that I can go back to only being overworked 1 week a year.
They're going to release the Gears of War Cafe Simulator. You got to serve the locusts in time.
Yeah, it's free to play. You can only play it on Xbox Cloud handheld because it's
Exactly.
a tap game.
And it crosses with Pokemon Cafe or whatever.
Actually, I'm waiting for the Halo toothbrushing mini game.
Oh, okay, yeah.
Where Master Chief just eggs you on to
It does
brush your teeth.
It does the happy birthday hooray when you're done. God,
yeah.
actually, I want that to be a thing.
Maybe just the little little chicken garbage, not chicken because
The
those are different
grunts?
guys. The garbage, yeah, little fucking weird comic relief guys that I feel like should have been erased from Halo like 8 games ago.
They're the best, though. I love those little bastards.
They suck.
They're specifically the ones who have the birthday cake skull where you shoot them in the head and it explodes into confetti.
I don't like.
That's
yeah,
the
but
best part.
It's supposed to be a serious franchise about saving the universe. Thing you got these little fucking Muppets running around. I'm like, oh no, oh geez, guys, wow, and then
Well,
they explode in a.
Yeah, that's fair, yeah.
So it undercuts the tone a little bit to have weird garbage
coming for
pail
us.
kid.
Save the children.
Right. Like, yeah, they're weird. Anyway, let's get to Halo because I got the feeling that you have a lot of thoughts about this, and I have
do.
some thoughts. They started off. They didn't bother to just. Oh yes, and by the way, one more thing.
By the way, Grand Theft Auto 5, never mind.
Yes. We had like the Super Blur trailer of them making the armor.
Well, what was neat about it is it's them making the armor, but it's showing them making the grappling hook extension for his arm.
Oh, okay.
That's what's like the little twine thing is
Great.
going on, and like the hook at the end of it.
I didn't need $2 million worth of CGI to know that Master Chief has a grappling hook now. But
Yeah, everyone's got a grappling hook, by the way, guys.
Yeah. You know,
everyone's now the Bionic Commando.
No, I'm going to say this right now, Michael. Like, is it a coincidence that 2 days before this conference, Shadow Warrior showed off a grappling hook
Yeah.
segment of gameplay, and then, oops, suddenly Master Chief's got a grappling hook.
Doom's got a grappling shotgun.
Yeah.
Everybody's got a grappling hook.
That grappling shotgun is the bomb. Anyway, I actually this messed me up. This trailer messed me up because I saw it and I was like, oh shit. Man, they have really upped their game in Halo as far as graphic. They really are taking advantage of the Xbox Series X's like enhanced processing capabilities when it comes to light maps and how I can see the eyelashes on that lady's face. And then they were like, "Here's the actual game," and I was like, "Oh, okay, it's like just a regular ass video game."
Yeah, that one before I knew it was some blur shit.
Yeah,
like I was like, I see what you guys are doing, but that's not the game. So show me the game.
I got Trixied. I totally got Trixied, and then I was let down. I was like, oh.
I think it looks fine. I think it looks like some Halo as Halo.
Okay,
the most Halo it's looked in quite some time.
Okay, I know that you and I are kind of set up for this Halo bit in a little bit of an adversarial situation because I've tried my best and I just don't really fucking get Halo.
I love Halo.
But let me ask you this: do you think this looks better than the last Halo? You played the last Halo more recently than I have, and like I look at this and like I could see a little bit of maybe like shadows normal mapping, but like I wasn't getting a lot of like particle smoke, like, and if they were doing normal mapping, I didn't feel like it was super emphasized to a point where I was like, holy shit, this looks like a billion times better than the last Halo game.
I don't think it looks that much better than original. Not original, but Halo 5.
Yeah.
But the things that I like about it, I like because it reminds me of original Halo more than it did Halo 4 or 5.
Okay.
For one, Master Chief looks like fucking Master Chief for the first time since Halo 3. Like his armor design is the most it's looked the way it did before.
This is why it's a good thing that you're on the show because it all just looks like green.
Well, that's the thing.
If he's got the face, like if the face shield had become like a Joker mask or something, I would have been like, oh, they went back to the face shield. But it just looks like green armor with a Halo.
Well, the
mask.
thing is, if you look at like Halo 4 and 5's Master Chief, it's this superly overcomplicated series of armor pieces. Whereas this is that very, very basic looking armor look.
Mm-hmm.
Whereas, yeah, with Halo 4 or 5, was like, that's not even close to the same armor he was wearing.
So I know we've seen the guy in this section from he picks Master Chief.
Yeah,
up,
he's from
right?
that trailer.
But
from
do we know anything about who this guy is?
No, they said they're going to reveal his name later down the line.
Okay.
Apparently, the actor who played him gave him his name, and he named him after his two friends. So we don't know his actual name yet.
Okay,
kind of thing. We just know that apparently he's going to be like his almost sidekick throughout this plot.
So it'd be like if my main character was called like Jason Davis or something.
Yeah,
like
basically.
That. Okay.
That's basically what the guy apparently did for this character. But yeah, the plot is, or not the plot, but the plots that they've talked about so far is that like, hey, there's just as much a mystery going on. Him and the chief are finding out what's going on together because this guy's been stuck in the ship for so long with no power, and Chief has basically been stuck outside.
Okay,
essentially half dead.
So in the actual gameplay, I think that the big things we know is grappling hook,
yes.
and then
grappling hook grabs things. He can throw things that aren't just grenades.
Yeah, and then the big thing is that it's apparently like an actual open world.
They've been hinting at that for a long time.
Okay.
The way the only hint that in this that we have that it might be is the map.
Right.
Because the map shows a bunch of other plot like areas that you can go to.
I thought they said that it was. I thought they mentioned in passing that it was an open world.
But they've never shown anything kind of thing. They've never like, hey, here's the open world part of it. They just keep saying it might be open world, and then they never really showed anything.
Does that do anything for you? I mean, I feel like the previous Halo games, a lot of the levels in them have been like large open areas that you can kind of go through and do various combat encounters. I guess I remember that from Halo 4 that there were a lot of places, or maybe I'm just thinking of the one level where you're driving that big tank and you could stop and get out and go places and then go back to the big tank.
Yeah, because that was just the mission. But that's the thing is that like everything is very methodical when it because Halo is like an action movie where it's a series of set pieces usually. Right. Whereas an open world Halo might make that a little more difficult to pull off something like that.
Are you excited about an open world Halo?
I don't know, honestly. Okay. I want to say I am, but like I said, since everything is very much about set pieces and being awesome and kind of thing, like it depends on what you're doing while you're driving around. Because it could be awesome if there's a lot of stuff to do, or it could be, L.A. Noire where there's jack shit in the middle of it.
I was actually just thinking
things that are like 5 things.
After I asked that question, I was just thinking like, you're like, it could be exciting, but then I remember the open world part of Destiny, and I was like, oh shit, okay.
It could very much be one of those things, and it could undercut a lot of what's going on. Because that's what I liked about Halo is the fact that it is the action movie set piece kind of thing.
It's very focused.
Yeah, everything's focused. Like everywhere you go, all the story beats are focused. Like it's the whole sense of urgency because of the way it plays out.
Okay.
Whereas with an open worlds tend to ruin that a lot of the times.
Yeah.
Because a lot of times they'd be like, you have 20 minutes to get somewhere. It's like, that's cool, but I'm just going to go help out the side mission real quick. And it just undercuts what's going on. I have a feeling that might happen if that's the case. A lot of the weapons seem very interesting to me. Like there's a couple new weapons in there, like the one, it's kind of like a semi-automatic rifle-looking thing. It also has a pistol that looks more like a normal 9mm instead of a sci-fi-ass pistol, if that makes sense.
Okay.
And some guns that I think are returning as well with different functions. I think one of them, it's this like brute shotgun thing. I forgot what it's called.
Okay.
It's got a little spike at the end of it, but it shows up later on. And some of the shield stuff I think came back too.
It seems like there's like power, like the powers, the armor powers from Reach or whatever.
Yeah, with some I think some mixtures.
See, look at that! I know shit about Halo. I remember some stuff about Halo.
Like it looks like old school Halo more than it's looked in quite some time though, and that's what makes me really excited about it.
Okay, so let me ask you a hypothetical question, because I feel like the thing is that if you're doing an open world game like this, right? So, okay, let me just think about the best way to say this. In my opinion, one of the big draws for Halo is that when you have those very much kind of like scripted combat encounters that kind of go like from point A to point B, and maybe there's a couple of side roads, but like for the most part they're pointing to point B, then playing the game becomes an exercise in like how good you are at the things, right? Like you have all the stuff. But in an open world game, a lot of times the draw of an open world game, because it's so large, is a sense of progression. I mean, maybe this is just because I've been playing Ghost of Tsushima, but even
it's the same with like Spider-Man.
Right, Spider-Man or like Ghost Recon or any of that stuff. You know, the new Assassin's Creeds,
like
right?
Murder things faster kind of mode.
Right, and so you level up. Like there'll be some kind of progression system.
Yeah.
I don't remember any of the previous Halos having like an upgrade system.
Well,
or
the closest is are the armor powers.
Right.
Like in Halo Reach, you walk around, you're like, okay, I'm not going to use this shield. I'm going to use the one that's like a clone or something, or not a clone, but like a hologram.
Right.
Like there's things that you could do to make certain areas easier, like but it gave them to you.
But dude,
it was never like a level system though.
Yeah, I mean, like I'm curious to know how you would feel about like this area is too hard until you've done these side missions to level up your armor stat to get
well,
there.
that's what I'm worried about. I'm worried about that sort of thing, because whenever somebody talks about old Halo, and every time they bring up something, it's always the big action set piece.
Right.
Like when somebody talks about Halo 3, inevitably somebody's going to talk about the 2 Scarab fight.
Yeah.
Kind of thing. Or just the Scarab fight itself. Like it's going to come up. Whereas I feel like with this, if it is too open world and it is one of those things where it's like, you can't come over here because you're not strong enough to kill us, it's like, well, that's fucking weird. I'm a dude with a gun. I don't see why I need to be stronger to shoot you faster.
Well, okay, so then, I mean, you know, just from, again, like, I don't give a shit about Halo. I just don't. I'm sorry. But, like, from the opposite perspective, if there's not a kind of progression system, then it feels like, why is this an open world? Like, it does. You can go anywhere you want. It's like, well, what does it matter where I go where I want, right? Because there's no benefit to doing anything outside of just, like, if it's all skill-based, then, like, mainlining the main like story quote unquote mission would just be what you would want to do, because there would be no reason to upgrade, right? If you're not going to get any more powerful. So I'm curious, because it seems like a big bet to know like what's the point here of making it into an open world game if it's going to be very similar to previous Halos.
That's the thing that worries me about it, is especially a lot of people I've been reading on Twitter, a lot of people weren't too keen on this, and then a lot of it's because they don't know what's actually happening.
Right.
Like they don't know like if this is an open world game, if it is an open world game, what is that we're supposed to be doing in it?
Right.
And then like, are we gonna have to worry about leveling kind of thing? Like, are we gonna have to worry about having to get a better pistol to shoot somebody faster kind of thing? Or like because Halo is still a 2-weapon thing.
Sure.
Kind of thing. It's not like playing Duke Nukem or even like Wolfenstein and all that stuff, we can carry multiples, or Doom kind of thing. It's still just, hey, you have 2 weapons and go for that. And you can tell because he drops weapons constantly during this gameplay.
Sure.
So it's like, well, what's going to happen if it is an open world? Like, a lot of people tend to carry their specific weapons that they like, you know, the assault rifle, the pistol, or the shotgun, or this thing. Like, how is that going to affect the overall like exploring? If that makes sense.
I'm really curious because, see, from my perspective, if Halo was what I just described, where there was like a leveling and an achievement, or like not achievement, just a leveling up system, like getting more powerful, getting better weapons, getting better armor, getting like upgrades that let you do different things over time, I'd actually be more interested in playing that game because that appeals more to my sense of like player progression than. Like I kind of feel. I mean, I don't know if this is an appropriate thing, but I kind of feel like Halo's like the NASCAR of video games, where it's like everybody starts in the same place, and it's just how good are you at this game? Like how good are you at shooting the sniper rifle is more important than like which gun. You know, there's not a sniper rifle that's a better sniper rifle. It's just how good are you at sniper rifle, as opposed to a lot of other games.
Well, it depends on the game, though. Like, it depends on the game that you're, comparing it, because Call of Duty isn't exactly that, I guess. Well, no, I
mean, but Call of
Duty
Duty has different different loadouts, right? So you kind of customize your loadout, your perks, all that stuff. I feel like you get more customization in Call of Duty, and even like Battlefield now, and like other games of that nature than you do. Because I've always thought Halo, there's a lot of cosmetic options, but everybody's using the same battle rifle, right?
Well, that's the thing, yeah. There's nothing there's never a gun that's like a stronger assault rifle than the assault rifle you have.
Right.
Kind of thing. And there's nothing to show in this that there is anything like that either.
Yeah.
Or even like a different shield or anything different in general. The only thing we've seen so far that's different is he has a grappling hook and he can grab things and throw them or grapple to somebody to melee them.
Right.
Kind of thing. Other than that, it looks like old school Halo, and I'm excited about that because I like that idea.
The other thing that I wonder about is whether, because we all know that Halo started as like this weird hybrid RTS FPS thing for the Mac, like back in the old days, is whether the open world is going to be more of that because I don't know if it's going to take place in other places as well, but it seems like it's going to take place a lot on this Halo, on the physical Halo.
And that's the thing is, like, will there be like interesting things to look at if it is an open world?
Right.
Is there going to be like animals and stuff that you can see?
Right.
Or is it just all blank trees and shit like when you were playing OG Halo because there's nothing there because it wasn't designed to be explored all that much?
Right.
Like what's going to happen with that? And some people are very worried about that.
It's a good question. I'm curious to know more. Because one of the things that I've always, that I've brought up a lot of times about that I'm not the biggest fan of with Halo is that a lot of what I consider to be, I wanted to get to this pause screen. Sorry, we'll get back to this in a second. Is that a lot of their lore is hidden in order to streamline the action process, right? It's like, but if this is a slower open world game that's meant to take a lot longer, then I feel like that's when you are. You beat this outpost and you find an audio log and you're driving to your next location and you could listen to it and get backstory. But I went back to the pause screen and I took a look at the top and there is a tab that says upgrades. So there we go.
But what does it mean? Because that's the thing is a lot of even the interview stuff they've been very hush about some of the stuff. Like the plot stuff they've been they've been a little more forthwith, like the enemies. The bad guys are the bad guys from Halo Wars 2.
Right.
Kind of thing. Although they've said you don't need to have played Halo Wars 2 to be comfortable with the plot.
Oh, man.
That kind of thing.
Michael, there's like a bunch of like Metal Gear Solid 5 numbers down here.
Oh, really?
There's like this, like when you look at this thing and this is the mission for gun battery, and there's like this star and it says 320, and then there's like a knife symbol, and then there's like 0 out of 4 batteries, and like 0 out of 1 cell phones or something. So this seems to me to be like collectibles, right, that are in that area.
Well, that middle one, the one with the sword, that's the difficulty.
Okay.
Because that's what the difficulty looks like for normal mode.
Okay.
And then heroic, it's the 2 swords, and then
skull and shit.
Yeah, skull. And
man, I bet there's gonna be some RPG shit in here. I bet
it looks like it.
I bet people are going to riot.
We'll find out. Is the thing.
Halo fans do not appear to me to be big fans of like changing up your shit.
They're not a big fan of it. Honest.
Like when I look at this game and the way you say that, like this game is like kind of a throwback, and I'm like, yeah, I feel like it looks better, right? But it's Master Chief in a warthog shooting grunts with the assault rifle.
Yeah.
Like this could be Halo 1 for fuck's sake.
No, it could. And I don't hate that kind of thing. It's just well, like the thing is we don't really That's what worries people is we don't really know what's going on with this thing. It's supposed to be holiday of this year, and we still haven't really seen all that much on it still.
Well, we still don't even know what the Call of Duty is for this year. But you're interested.
No, I'm very interested.
You're not just going to thumbs down this video.
Especially
Halo
the
is
plot.
trash now.
I've always been more into Halo's plot than anything else. Is one of those things, especially nowadays. When I was younger, I was very much the Halo multiplayer guy, but I had a lot of people I played it with.
Yeah,
and I don't anymore. So I focused more on the plot again from there.
Oh my God. What GameSpot? I got GameSpot's video for this.
There's an
Xbox.
ad like every 20 seconds.
Yeah, this sucks. I'm gonna find another version of this. Actually, I'm gonna find what the next thing is, and then we can go on to that. What do they do from there? Was it? It
was the State of Decay.
State of Decay. Again, you know what? I feel like people are gonna listen to me talk about this, and they're gonna think that I'm really down on Microsoft. It's just the thing is that I don't care about a lot of Microsoft franchises. So I was able to call the here's IGN, maybe. Where's just the Xbox one? That's game trailers, maybe.
I feel like you might be able to just find Xbox's
game trailers
thing and so.
Anyway, so yeah, the State of Decay 3 had pre-rendered trailer, no gameplay. It was like a lady making crossbow bolts, and she
yells at
a wolf or something, and then later on,
fuck you.
Like I do like the part where she sees like a wolf and it's getting eaten, and it's being eaten by a zombie deer.
Yeah,
like the zombie deer is what is consuming the wolf because it's all feral and shit. This to me again, I got fooled first thing. So like, I don't think that State of Decay 3 is going to look like this trailer.
No. I was surprised it was State of Decay. Because I've seen State of Decay, and it's not all that very detailed looking at all times.
I mean, they did a big update for State of Decay 2 that they were supposed to make it better, but like, I keep trying to like State of Decay, and I keep not giving a shit about State of Decay.
It's
so
difficult to care.
They've got this focus on building a community, and that means that it like, I don't know, it just feels real janky, right? Like it feels like the running and the shooting and the driving was all like an afterthought, or like it.
No, yeah.
So I don't know, and the story, I don't really understand the story.
I've
very
never
much.
heard anybody be like, State of Decay is the best thing ever. Like I've never heard anybody say that.
I feel like there's big fans of it, but they're like very vocal, very small fan base.
Yeah,
so,
and I've never met any of them.
Yeah. So let's see from there.
The Halo Finite.
We got jacked up Phil Spencer talking about Game Pass and all that bullshit. It's blah blah blah. It's the best. It's got all the MIPS. It's got a lot of RAM. It's Xbox. It's
here. It's now. It's WoW.
Yeah. It's fucking vertical, so it's gonna sit in front of your TV and obscure the bottom corner.
Yeah, that kind of thing.
Because and then Forza.
Some John Forza stuff.
Thomas Forza. Thomas Forza's back. He's racing against Guy Fieri.
Yeah, exactly.
And Anita Sarkeesian or whatever our thing was.
Flavortown.
Yeah, going to Flavortown. This is like you guys can copy and paste what I said during the PlayStation show about Gran Turismo, where I'm like, I feel like we've gotten to a point where cars can't look any better in a video game.
They don't.
So I watched this one and I'm like, I mean, is this the Xbox One X, or what am I looking at that is so much better about these fucking super detailed cars?
They need to work on their audiences is what they need to do. And I don't mean like the audience of the game. I mean the audience in the game.
Yeah.
Because, like there's screenshots of the paper people jumping up and down. That's what they need to work on. Yeah.
On popsicle sticks going up and down.
They need to make people holding those popsicle sticks.
Yeah.
To really make me impressed.
Yeah. I'll tell you what. If they had announced a new Forza Horizon game, I would actually be more interested. But,
okay.
Because I kind of like Horizon. It's dumb and kooky, and like you get to drive through people's like farms and shit. But like regular Forza, I don't
really
give a shit. Go find. I'm sure there's a YouTuber out there that does nothing but play racing games that made a 40-minute video about that one trailer. You go watch that guy.
They exist, yeah.
All right. From there, we got Rare's new game. Michael, okay. You know what? There's a thing for everybody. Everybody's entitled to the games that they like. I'm not game shaming here. I'm just saying that this game was all like I mean, what do they keep talking about? Like,
What's the harmony and
balance,
the vibrations
the balance
that only some people feel,
right?
Kind of thing.
And like everything they do in the trailer is like healing animals.
Well, they're just hanging out
and hanging out, like talking and shit. And I'm like, fuck you. This game looks boring. Like, I'm sorry, or like I'm sure it's fine for somebody, but like the most exciting things that happens is goddamn Ong's flying mount guy almost falls off the side of a mountain. Like,
well, we don't really know what's going on with it. Like,
I don't.
like, the guy's like tearing down a tree with what looks like a giant Lorax.
Sure.
Kind of thing.
Yep. And it's
Speaks
very
for the trees.
It's very pretty, and I need to see what game. I feel like there's a lot of these games where I'm like, you need to show me game before I get excited about this, because
well, this is very much that point in E3 where they're like, look at this new thing, and we don't know anything about it, and then the salamander pukes up
a bunch of little
fish or something.
salamanders, and they all. Yeah,
we don't really know what's happening. That's really what it comes down to.
Sure. If you look, Michael, I touched the stove.
I'm trying.
I've touched the stove too many times when it comes to the game industry. So like, I'm not saying fucking boycott Rare or anything, but what I am saying is like,
Bring back Banjo-Kazooie.
I got nothing for this until you show me 5 minutes worth of gameplay, because what you showed me is like a bunch of hippies in like fucking Narnia.
I forgot they do this little dance sequence around this deer,
and the voiceover is all about nature and like the balance and listening to the colors of the wind. And I'm like, fuck you. I like Hitman and Dark Souls. This shit is too gentle for me. So
it's fair, but it's just it's too early on for me to make a judgment.
I again, my hand is scarred up. I will make a judgment.
I'm just saying that could be a thing.
Yeah,
could just be Banjo-Kazooie all over again.
Who knows? That's Everwild is the name of that.
Gonna have an Everwild rap.
Yeah,
like DK rap.
No, no.
It's all about vibrations or whatever.
And the lady that came out afterwards, she talked a lot of hippie shit too. And then we got that Don't Nod game.
Tell Me Why.
Tell Me Why.
Which I immediately thought of Brooklyn Nine-Nine's cold open with the Backstreet Boys thing.
This is, I feel like Don't Nod makes a lot of games where they seem like very good games that I have no interest in playing.
What else did they make?
They made the Life is Strange 2.
Are they the same
or right? Or they made Vampire.
Oh yeah, they made Vampire.
Let's see. Let me get it. No, they didn't. No, they did make Life is Strange. They made the prequel. Life is Strange. Like, okay, here. Let me go to their Wikipedia page instead of trying to pull this shit out of my dumb brain. Okay, Remember Me? Remember Me?
Vaguely.
Life is Strange, Vampire, The Awesome Adventures of Captain Spirit, which was that weird
so they did do those,
spinoff.
yeah.
Life is Strange 2. And then they're making Twin Mirror and Tell Me Why. And Twin Mirror was the one. Did you and I talk about that? Where it's like the crime one.
Oh, yeah.
But this one, it seems like it's I don't want to get in trouble here, Michael, because one of the characters in this game is a trans man, and I don't want to be like, I want to come off like I'm a fucking, keep your politics out of my video games. It's like, when a good drama movie comes out where it's like, oh, this movie's incredible. It's a drama about feelings. And I'm like, don't care, because I come to video games to blast on stuff and hack stuff up with a sword. And if it's going to be a drama, I'd rather it be like Papers, Please, where it makes me feel bad at the end and I hate myself.
Well, it's more like murder mystery kind of drama with some sci-fi stuff on it.
Yeah, I don't know.
The mom trying to shoot the other one with a shotgun or something.
Yeah, I don't know. I can't. This one doesn't do anything for me.
I'm sure it's going to be fine.
But
I'm not all that interested. Like, I'm interested in some of the plot, but knowing that they made the Life is Strange stuff, it's going to be janky. So.
I mean,
I don't want to deal with that.
I'll say that the graphics look very good. It's a very nicely produced trailer. It's just
it looks fine. Yeah,
it's not the sort of game that I'm interested in.
I know people would be excited though.
See the last one, like less feelings, more bullets.
Man, watch that Life is Strange with Grant, because I remember losing my goddamn mind when you guys did that one. I laughed for like a solid minute every single time.
Yeah,
made fun of the plant or whatever.
From there, we got Ori and the Blind Forest, or Ori and the Will of the Wisp is not going to run like shit on the Xbox Series X.
Apparently.
Because Ori and the Will of the Wisp runs like shit on the Xbox One X, unless they've done patches. Like when I played it all the way through, there was a solid 3 seconds to get into the pause menu and out of the pause menu every time you wanted to pause.
That's weird.
Or go to the map or things like that. And apparently it's going to run really good on the Series X. It's going to run at 120 FPS in 4K. And it's like, great. It should run at 120 FPS in 4K on a PlayStation 2. Like, this isn't the most technologically advanced game I've ever seen.
I don't really know what they did with it, but good for them.
I don't know. It's a good game. It's a great game. I love that game. It runs like shit, but I love it. We actually, earlier this week, we got a tease for this, but there's going to be DLC for Outer Worlds.
Yes.
And I'm excited about this. I really like Outer Worlds. It's basically, it looks like there's going to be 2 story expansions. This was a very Outer Worlds trailer with a lot of,
I always love their trailers. Their trailers are so much fun.
Yeah.
When they show off the weapons, they're like swords, this thing, and it shows the weird like axe looking thing.
Yeah.
And I just love it.
So it's going to be called Peril on Gorgon, and I got to tell you, I know this isn't fair, Michael, but I was sitting there watching this and I was just like, and it's out today. No, it's out in like September,
which is fair.
It's fine.
If it was out today, we would have had to record something.
Fuck yeah, I would have done that. I would have done that tomorrow. September 9th. From there, we got a really great trailer for Grounded.
Yes.
I mean, like, Grounded comes out, like, by the time you hear this, in, like, 2 days. Grounded is great. The only thing that was weird was at the end, they said it was coming to Steam Early Access and Xbox Preview.
I was confused by that, yeah.
So I feel like it's still in Early Access.
Which didn't make any sense to me.
At this point, like, they've just released the entire campaign into Early Access, but then they're going to do a bunch of tweaks about it. I freaking loved the like half hour that I played with Matt of this game. Like,
it's a really interesting idea.
I didn't expect to, because it looked kind of like cutesy, and I was like kind of tired of survival games, but like, nah, when all the ants started chasing us and we ran away from them and we realized that they were just worker ants and they were just curious what we were doing, and they just all like huddled around us, and then at the very end, Matt and I got jacked by a spider.
Oh, okay.
It was pretty horrifying, because the spiders are fucking huge. Like, even in this trailer,
people who are afraid of spiders, stay away from this game.
They have an arachnophobia mode for
really?
it. Yeah, I don't know what it changes, but the thing is that
Maybe it makes them into like giant ants or something.
In this trailer, they're like showing like these third-person like dynamic camera shots of like kids fighting the spiders, but like when you're actually playing the game, it's from a first-person point of view, and so the spiders are just fucking gargantuan.
I do love that it's like, or go alone and let your friend get eaten the fuck by that spider.
Yeah, I really did appreciate this. Was a very cute trailer where they were like, if you play one game this year, make that game Cyberpunk 2077.
That was a really fun thing. I was going through Twitter and they were actually tweeting at each other going like, I see you and I appreciate you.
That's cool. Yeah, I really, this game, I'm super into it. And like the fact that it's Obsidian, I'm like, it's so strange. And then we also got the first look at Obsidian's next game, the one that they're making, the one's going to be an Xbox exclusive, in a like very, very short pre-rendered, I don't really know what the fuck is going on here trailer. It's like a medieval world, and they're following this arrow past a bunch of stuff.
I thought it was like a Lord of the Rings game at one point.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I knew that they were making something. It's funny because I feel like Obsidian, right? Like they crashed after New Vegas. A lot of their studio crumbled because they didn't get the bonus, the Metacritic bonus, which is bullshit.
Yeah.
I don't like Obsidian, but it was still bullshit.
Complete bullshit.
And then they like clawed their way back with Kickstarter projects with like Pillars of Eternity and Tyranny and those games.
Yeah.
And then they did the Stick of Truth and Stick of Truth 2.
And they came back with a vengeance.
Yeah, and they came back, and now they're making a survival game and like a Skyrim game. And I feel like ever since, like, okay, so they started with Kickstarter projects where they had limited budget, and then they went to work for Ubisoft with Trey Parker, Matt Stone, who basically had, I think, unlimited budget.
Yeah.
And now it's like, I'm curious to see what they do with an RPG with like a for reals budget.
Yeah.
Like a huge ass budget.
Like, this is a fairly interesting trailer, and it looks like it's going to be one of those two-handed weapon things.
Yeah, I thought when I was watching it that it was going to be some kind of like Might and Magic tie-in almost.
It could be cool. Whatever it is, it could very much be cool.
Yeah. Again, the problem is that I want to see more.
Something, yeah.
Something.
Yeah, that's the thing. This is one that you can't be like, oh my god, I'm excited. Like, I'm excited to see more.
Right.
Is definitely what I am.
I feel like there's I feel like there's a lot of like pre-rendered stuff in this show.
There is, but that happens even when during E3. So
yeah,
it's not too insane.
Except that, like, I mean, I guess the the reason I point that out is because when they had the like gameplay reveal showcase. And everybody was like,
oh, yeah.
most of that wasn't even fucking gameplay.
Yeah, that was pretty bad.
And then they were like, don't worry, we're going to show gameplay in the actual conference. And then it was like, well.
Did you, though?
Sort of. A little bit. Kind
There's
of.
some stuff in there.
There's some stuff in there. They're going to show Halo gameplay.
Which I was all for.
Yeah.
Just show me that. Make it a Halo conference, and I'm all for it.
And then let's see. What else do we have here? Oh, yeah. We had this really, what the hell is the name of this game? This really weird thing from, as Dusk Falls, from Interior/Night.
Oh, yeah. It's this, like, it looks almost like a, what's the word I'm looking for? What are they called? The visual novels. It's very much looks probably just a visual novel.
I was going to say graphic novel. Is that what you're saying?
Yes, well, yes, both, technically, yeah.
It's
an interactive drama.
It's got this really weird thing where there are 3D models of stuff, but then all the people are like, who's that comic book guy that everybody hates that just like rips off pictures of porn stars and then draws fucking the Invisible Woman over them?
I know who you're talking about, but I don't remember their name anymore.
Everybody here is like a painting, but of what is obviously a photo of a person posing.
Most likely.
And it's like some kind of crime thing.
That's the thing. In the beginning, like you think it's just going to be about you going through this night, but then it cuts to the future.
Right.
You're like, but what happened then? And I guess now it's one of those. It's another one of those mystery ones where like you got to find out what happened that night. I'm like, but I would rather live the night instead. Okay.
I just want to know what this game is. Like this trailer is fine, but like, is it a visual novel? Like, I kind of just feel like if you just told me it's a visual novel, because part of me, Michael. Just go with me here for just a second.
Okay.
Part of me is like, is this just the style that they did for a trailer? Like, does this game actually look like this?
That's a good point.
Like,
yeah.
it could just be a stylish trailer, and then it turns out that the game is like a third-person action game, or
well,
like
it says it's an interactive drama,
side-scrolling
or
bullet
it could just
hell
be a movie for all we know.
shooter. He shoots his emotions. It's a bullet hell emotion shooter.
Gal gun is what you're saying?
Yeah, gal gun. No, less horny than gal gun. More angry than gal gun.
Oh, okay. The serious gal gun.
I don't know. I watched this again, and I'm just like, I don't even know whether to be excited or not because I don't have any goddamn clue what's going on here.
In the idea, whatever it is.
Yeah.
So, that's the thing is I'm a little more easy to please when it comes to certain things. So
put my hand on the stove, man.
Yeah.
Put my hand on the stove to me. I've gotten too excited.
Well, I haven't turned the stove on. I'm just looking at the menu going, well, that looks neat.
I just, the thing is that, Rage Select's been around for 7 years. I worked at Spill for 2 years before that,
Yeah.
and I was a video game fan for like 20 years before that. And like every time I get my hopes up too high, the game industry is like, "Ha, you dumb shit! Did you get excited? No, that was running on a PC. Like, look at these graphics now." So,
well, these are just like story stuff, so it's not really anything. Like that's why I'm not like shitting on anything.
You could be excited.
I'm not excited. I'm interested.
From there, we got some info about Hellblade 2, but nothing new.
It's gonna be in Iceland.
Yeah,
we're just gonna play Zsa Zsa Ding Dong the entire time.
They were like, go to our YouTube channel after this is over, and we'll show you pictures of the locations that we scouted to make the game.
Yeah, I was laughing because I decided to watch some other people's reaction stuff, and one of them was like, "Just go to our YouTube channel." I was like, "Oh, I'm busy this today. I can't really hang out today."
Yeah, it's really strange. It's really strange.
Yeah, I don't know. I'm sure it's going to be fine.
Yeah, it's fine.
You're going to hear me say that a lot, by the
way. From there, we got a trailer for Psychonauts 2. This big Jack Black singing a song.
Yes.
I'm
on an acid trip situation.
I didn't play Psychonauts 1.
I didn't either.
I don't have like the psycho boner. I don't have a psycho boner, so I don't like. I think that Double Fine is a fun company, but I feel like they're also wildly uneven.
They really are.
So, like, I don't have any real clear like, oh my god, it's Double Fine, it's gonna be amazing. And I'm like,
I bought Psychonauts when it was like $3 or something one day on the PlayStation 4, and I keep meaning to go to it, and I just never do.
I don't know. I mean, this was interesting. There's actually a game. This was a very kind of like Yellow Submarine psychedelic kind of with the song thing. There's a game called it was on the previous it was on the ID and Xbox thing that we're going to talk about later. No Straight Roads. Do you remember No Straight Roads?
Oh yeah.
Which to me it looks like a way better rock and roll psychedelic adventure game than what I'm seeing here. But
it seems to be just like one part of the game.
Yeah,
because it changes the art style as well during it.
I don't know. I guess the other thing that I keep having to remember is that I skipped the like character platformer, 3D character platformer craze.
Oh, okay.
So just seeing this, I don't know. I'm interested
this was
to know.
An OG Xbox game, if I remember correctly.
Was it?
Yeah, if I remember correctly, it was an OG Xbox game that everyone would talk every now and then. If you met somebody who played it, they would not stop talking about it.
Yeah.
And then they were like, "Well, maybe they'll make another." And then they all just gave up that they were going to. But Tim Schafer never gave up, and he eventually started making this. And then it's been being made for ages, though, is the thing. At this point, I don't know if it's ever going to live up to its hype.
Came out on Xbox and OG Windows in 2005.
Okay.
And then there was a PS2 port in later, and et cetera, et cetera. So, yeah, I don't know. I'm really interested to see what Double Fine does next.
Yeah.
For Microsoft after they get done here. This one isn't doing the most for me.
I'm excited for the people who are excited about it.
Yeah.
More than Shenmue.
At least Shenmue's out of the fucking way.
Yeah.
Destiny 2 is going to be on Game Pass and all the expansions and on the phone
DLC or whatever.
xCloud and all that shit. We got a trailer for Destiny 2. Michael, it's been, 5 years? I am never going to get excited for Destiny.
I was excited for Destiny when it first was the thing because I was very into Bungie at that point.
Yeah.
And then I played it and I was like, well, I don't really care about this.
Yeah, it was like there's some like ice powers that you get this time, and it's
I've tried to like Destiny so many times.
Me too.
I played the first Destiny when it came out.
Yep.
I played the expansion, Taken King, which I did enjoy.
Yep.
I'm not gonna lie, but once I was done, I didn't care anymore. And then I got Destiny 2 on sale because a friend of mine was like, let's play it, and we did, and then we gave up, and then it became free at one point, and then I never touched it again.
And then I went back when they killed off Nolan North.
Yeah, well, it wasn't even. It was Nathan Fillion.
Nathan Fillion,
and they didn't even get Nathan Fillion to come back for that story.
Right.
They replaced him with Nolan North.
So I was like, okay.
And it was the most interesting thing in the entirety of Destiny.
I've tried a bunch of times. I'm not a big fan of Destiny.
I was so upset when that happened because I was like, well, definitely don't give a fuck about now.
I mean, it is nice. I do, although often I feel for the Destiny fans that are like, I've spent like fucking $400 on this game, and now it's it's all free on Game Pass, y'all. It's like, okay, cool.
Hooray.
Now they've got Halo and Destiny on the same service. Oh, woo!
We have ghosts, and they have ghosts.
Yeah. Let's see. From there, yeah, I actually called this one way early too. Stalker 2.
Oh yeah.
So it's funny because I was like, hasn't there been like 8 Stalker games? It's like, no, there have been Stalker, and then Stalker Call of Prepat, and then the other one that I think was like a remake of the first Stalker.
My favorite thing is I literally forgot this happened.
Oh, that Stalker was announced?
I literally forgot this entire thing happened at all.
So, well, also we live in a world that has Metro, so why do you need Stalker?
It's kind of true.
It's not. Stalker has like all kinds of mystical power bullshit.
I'm sure it does, but I don't remember anything about it. And like I said, I literally forgot this trailer even happened.
It was the original like OG super hard. It was like Dark Souls before Dark Souls, right? You'd like eat. Like before Fallout New Vegas had like the super survival mode, it's like you have to eat and drink and check your rads, and
I guess so.
Some people are super into that.
That's true. People are really into that kind of idea.
And then also it's about a bunch of Russian radioactive monster things. So great.
Good for you guys.
Great.
I literally forgot this happened.
I don't know. You might like. I mean, the other thing that we should note is that most of the shit that we've talked about today is on Game Pass.
Yes.
So, like, Stalker 2 is going to be on Game Pass. Might as well try Stalker 2 for 10 minutes and see if it's any it's any good. Let's see. From there, which one was this?
It was the Warhammer.
Oh yeah, the Warhammer 40K. What was the name of this one?
Dark Tide.
Yes, Dark Tide. Good memory. Good remembering.
That was a lucky guess. It's a Tide commercial.
I actually, when I looked this up, this is the company that made Vermintide.
Oh, okay.
So it's a 4-player like survival first-person shooter, but it's in 40K instead of original Warhammer. It's about the Inquisition going to like one of these big hive cities, and it's like all overrun with chaos. So instead of being knights versus the rat people, it's like Inquisition versus chaos jerk-offs.
It could be cool.
Vermintide 1 and 2 are both really good. I've played both of them a little bit. I mean, it's like there's like a whole cottage industry of like 4-player Left 4 Dead first-person shooter games, and that one's pretty good.
Good for them.
They also said that like you're not going to be able to rely on guns, so you're definitely going to have to like get up and close and personal.
Oh,
and,
okay.
like this is a franchise that has chainsaw swords, so I'm
true.
100% cool with that.
Good for Warhammer trying to get more people into it.
Yep. Let's see. Right. I also called this one early because I know that song because I played Tetris Effect a whole bunch of times.
I remember being caught off guard about it. I'm like, what is this? And then because it's so intricate, and then when it turned out to just be Tetris, I was like, get the fuck out of here with your fuck. Like, really?
Yeah, I remember because I played this. This is the song on the PSVR Tetris Effect, and it's super super catchy. So yeah, the Tetris Effect is going to be coming on to Xbox.
Well, it's a special version of Tetris Effect, too.
Yes, it's going to have multiplayer and some other feature.
Connects to each other or whatever.
Yeah, like multi-thing. They're putting more stuff. Tetris Effect is one of the better versions of Tetris that exists in the world, so, like, cool.
It is nice, yeah. It's very... But if you're not into, like, super colory effects and you're epileptic as fuck, you probably should stay away.
Yeah. I don't know. It's pretty groovy. I mean, like it was on PSVR, but then also
it was very big on PSVR.
You can also play it off of PSVR, and it's great because it has that whole thing where it's like, as you level up in Tetris, it changes like what the things look like in the song that's playing in the background, all the stuff around you. So
I've really played it.
It's pretty cool. I mean, Tetris
people
Effect.
who are really into it.
Yeah, it's just Tetris though. Like every time they try to do something different with Tetris, I mean, like at its core, Tetris Effect is just Tetris.
Yeah.
And if you try to change Tetris, then you fuck it up.
You get some weird shit.
You get fuck it up. You get Tetrisphere, and then everybody's
Tetrisphere,
unhappy.
Oh, jeez.
I rented an N64 from Blockbuster Video to play Tetrisphere.
Oh, really?
Yeah, because I was like, whoa, mind-blowing. And I was like, oh, this sucks.
Yeah.
This is the worst. So, let's see. From there, we got... this is from the people that made SteamWorld Dig. This is the ooze.
The gunk.
The gunk. The secret of the gunk. This one I was a little strange on because like it seems like a third-person action game, like with some like you're sucking down this gunk with your vacuum cleaner hand, and I really like SteamWorld Dig and SteamWorld Heist and SteamWorld Quest. But this looked very generic to me.
Well, there's not really much going on, at least in what they've shown.
Yeah.
It's a lot of just platforming and sucking up the gunk. There's no, like, enemies that they've shown or anything.
Well, there's the gunk enemies that come out at the very end.
Oh, yeah, okay. That's true. But they don't show anything that you do against them.
Yeah.
I guess is the...
Also, it appears that you're taking out the gunk so that nature can thrive, and I already told you I'm not down with that fucking shit.
Yeah, it's. I'm sure it'll be... It looks like it could be a little fun thing, but who knows?
It's strange. It's such a departure for them, because, I mean, the SteamWorld series is so specific in the way that it looks.
I like its name, though. It's very straightforward, simple.
It reminds me of that Housemarque game. How it's like a very clear departure from what that company has previously done.
I couldn't stop thinking of Black Slime from Ghostbusters.
Yeah.
But that's just me.
We got another trailer for The Medium.
I have to admit, this looks really cool, though.
From Bloober. I like I don't think we've seen before that, like, they made a really big point of showing that, like, there's the real world and like the spirit world, and that everything is happening at the same time in both worlds. Like, you cut back and forth between the two worlds, and it's like the exact same, or not the exact same thing, but like your characters in the same place, and like
it's one of those
the architecture's similar.
It's one of those gags that you would, or not gags. You would see it as a gag sometimes, where it's like a person is seeing something the other people can't see. Because there's one point where she's running down a hallway, and I almost couldn't help but giggle to myself because it's the super intense thing on the right. But on the left side, it just looks like a crazy person running down a hallway.
Yeah. I don't know. I was telling you before we started that I'm not the biggest fan of Bloober in the world, especially because that Blair Witch game fucked me, and it
just showed the thing I was talking about.
Yeah,
but this little visual of like her cutting through this thing is just so gross. But I'm interested in it because I like the idea of it quite a bit. But I'm a big sucker for supernatural things in general.
I just want to know what the actual gameplay is. If there's anything outside of just like running and adventure stuff. I don't know. I like more shooting. I prefer the Resident Evil model to the Amnesia, the Dark Descent model.
That's fair.
Personally. And let's see. Oh my God,
Phantasy Star Online.
Jesus, I was like, when is this shit going to be over? I mean, like
the song was catchy as hell though.
Great. Phantasy Star Online 2, like some version of it is going to be console launch exclusive.
It's a huge get, to be honest. Not because I'm going to play it, but because I knew a lot of people growing up who all they would talk about was Phantasy Star Online.
I hate it. It just looks like it so reminds me. I mean, I know that I don't really like MMOs. It's like so much this podcast people would be. I can't imagine somebody listening to this podcast like, Jeff, what the fuck do you like?
It's
and I'm
just
like,
Jeff saying I hate it over and over again.
We'll get to what I do like. Thanks, I hate it. Yeah. But I look at this and it's like, oh man, I'm so glad that we're kind of on the tail end of MMOs because this just looks so fucking boring to me. And that's, a trailer where somebody's spinning around with a neon lightsaber fighting monsters in the middle of a sci-fi landscape. And it's like, yeah, but I know what this is going to end up being. Like, I know that at the end of the day, what I'm going to end up being is being forced into some party coordinating a raid with somebody on Saturday at 2 because we have to get enough crystals to be able to open the dungeon to get the epic and it's like, fuck you.
There are a lot of people who are really excited about this, though.
Yes.
And I'm excited for them, but that's as far as I'll go.
I think I bought Phantasy Star Online 2 on my Xbox One X, and the idea of maybe trying it out for Rage Select, and then I started it up and got to the character creation. I was just like, oh, God. And then I got into the game, and it was like, let's start the 8-hour tutorial. And I was like, no. No.
Good for them, though.
I will make another Hitman video.
Good for you guys. New Genesis.
I disagree. I say bad for you. Stop it. Stop it.
Stop it. Buy more Hitmans.
Sega, I hate you. You just make the games I want and quit not making the games that I don't want.
Is it not because it's not Sonic the Hedgehog?
That's right.
Sonic the Hedgehog MMO.
Dude, man, I'm fucking ride or die for Sonic. I'm always here for Sonic. Fucking Tails is my boy.
You wanted Sonic Forces to be an MMO.
My background on my desktop is just nothing but a collage of Sonic Vor and pregnancy and all that stuff. Like, I got all of it in just one big collage.
I was going to make another gag, but fuck, now my head's like trying to throw that out of it as fast as it can.
Yeah.
Oh, God.
That's right. All his DeviantArt accounts, half of them are me.
Don't Google half the shit he just said, by the way. Just don't do it.
Next up, strangely enough, this is one of the things that I'm really excited about, but I don't think I should be.
I got caught off guard by this, to be honest.
So I knew for a while back. Okay, so for anybody, this is a weird story. There is a game that is called Crossfire X. It is a Call of Duty style multiplayer shooter game that I believe is very, very big in China.
Okay.
And at some point, the company that owns Crossfire X went to Remedy and was like, write the number down to write us a single player campaign for our multiplayer.
What the fuck?
Like the equivalent of this is, imagine if like whoever it is right now that runs Counter-Strike like went to, I don't know, Hideo Kojima and was like, Mr. Kojima, how much money would it take for you to write a single player story to add to Counter-Strike? And then they did it. Like, Remedy made the story for this.
Yeah, I saw Remedy's name in there, and I didn't realize. I was like, well, this is a first-person shooter. That doesn't make any sense.
Yeah. And it's like some kind of Crisis bullshit, too. It's like the guy gets like a super suit that makes him invisible and shit.
But like also Fate and shit. I don't know. I was actually kind of interested in the story idea.
Yeah, of all the things they showed, I might actually be the most excited for this, for the dumb Crossfire X. But then, did you also notice the fine print at the bottom during this?
Well, they mentioned it out loud, where it's like the single player isn't free on Game Pass.
Right. Yeah, you can play the multiplayer on Game Pass, but you got to pay for that single player,
Which I thought was interesting. I was like, that's curious.
I'm pretty sure you can already play this.
I wouldn't be surprised.
You can already play the multiplayer for it. So, yeah, I don't know. I'm totally willing to try out Remedy's weird. I am totally willing to play Crisis as written by fucking Remedy. So
I'm cool with that. That's the only reason I was interested in it at all.
Yeah.
I just didn't realize that was the backstory behind all this being made.
Yeah, like if you told me that this was the next Call of Duty game, I wouldn't give a shit. But if you told me it's written by Remedy, then I'm like, oh shit, Remedy.
Yeah, I'm excited for that sort of idea.
So yeah, I'll totally play this. It actually looks pretty action packed too. Like,
Yeah.
I don't know. And then let's see. I think we had one. Did they do one more thing?
They did one more thing. Which was the most exciting for some people.
It was Bug Snacks.
No, it was the Peter Molyneux experience.
Oh, right. It's fucking Fable. Yeah. Yep. And not Fable 4, just Fable.
Yeah.
Are they rebooting?
Maybe, because it's not Lionhead anymore, so they may just be restarting from scratch.
We got, this is a pre-rendered thing. It's very floating around. Gets eaten by a frog. Everyone's like, "What? Oh, it's crazy! It's so crazy!"
Well, it makes me laugh at the fact that it was another one of those trailers that was like the peace and harmony between nature and
Right,
stuff.
right.
And then the frog fucking eats it, and you're like, okay, now I get where you're coming from, Fable.
Yeah,
we're back.
You know what? The thing is that I never got into Fable, Michael.
Oh, really?
Like, I didn't have a 360 when
2 came out.
When 2 came out.
See, 2 was my jam.
I think I might have when 3 came, or no, I don't even think I had one when 3 came out, because I got a 360 like way late into the lifespan. It was when I worked for Spill that I finally got a 360. So listen, 7 years of Rage Select, and that was the beginning of this console generation. So I maybe had an Xbox 360 for like a year and a half, 2 years before that. Fable 1, I heard. Dude, oh god, it's fucking terrible. Like it
wasn't super good.
Thing.
It was okay.
And then Fable 2, I remember my friend played the shit out of it, and at one point I went to go visit her in Houston, and her whole thing was she couldn't understand why her character was so fat. Oh. and I sat there and I didn't understand why our character was fat either. And then I was just like playing the game, and I was playing the game, and I started to understand. I was like, okay, it's this like body type, and if you eat a lot, and if you get hit a lot, then you're going to eat a lot, and then you're going to get real fat. And it's like, okay,
you have celery.
You have to eat celery to make
so much
thin.
Celery.
Yikes, are rude to say that in 2020. It's just like, oh god.
Yeah, it won a PETA award. Fable 2 because eating meat was evil. It was an evil choice in the game. And PETA was like, go on.
And then Fable 3, I keep hearing that it's this thing where like there's this weird turn point at the end of Fable 3 where like if you're making the good decisions, you're put to this really big moral choice, and you can either make the good decision and lose the game unless you have a shitload of money, or the evil decision and then like win the game. But they like in order to pick the, I don't know, this is just what I heard.
I didn't get very far.
In order to pick the good decision at the very end of the game, you have to have a shitload, like a really huge amount of money to be able to buy your way through this moral bullshit that happens, or you were kind of forced to do some like war crime atrocity bullshit to finish that game.
I didn't realize that. Yeah, I started Fable 3 and I didn't get very far because for some reason at the time, I remember being very disappointed about it. I couldn't tell you why nowadays because it was so long ago.
Yeah.
But I played the shit out of Fable 2. I played it so much that by the time I was done, I had 2 wives in that series. My favorite thing was...
You should have stopped before you said in that series. I played that game for so long. By the time I was done, I just had 2 wives. Yeah. I don't even know where they came from.
One of my favorite gags, or not gags, because it was an accident, because you're not supposed to be able to do this.
Yeah.
Is that, so in the game, if you can convince a character to sleep with your character, you can do it you can get them to sleep with them pretty much anywhere. Mm-hmm. So what I did is, since I was this big hero or whatever, I had the ability to go in a lot of people's houses for some reason. Uh-huh. So I went into a random person's house and was able to get them to sleep with another character while there's another character in the room.
All right.
So once it was done, the character was like, get out of my house, and he called the cops essentially on me. And they were like, just don't do it again. What the fuck is wrong with you?
I'm the king, bitch!
Yeah, I was like, I have all the money. It's just here.
Yeah.
It's funny because like if you have 2 wives in the game, eventually like a random NPC will blackmail you. Like, I'll tell the other one, you just got to pay me. I was like, fine, get the fuck out of here.
And then did they ever put out that Halo, that Kinect Fable horse riding thing where you can push the arrow into your horse and out in and out? You remember the thing where they were showing it live and like the person's like, look, you can move the arrow, and it was like, just pull it out. Don't put it back into the horse. Like, what are you doing? And then there was the 4v1 iPad Dungeon Master. asynchronous multiplayer
I
Halo
think all
game.
that stuff was the stuff that got canceled.
Yeah.
That ended line they had to begin with.
I mean, like, I'm okay with trying a new Fable and be on Game Pass, right? Like,
Yeah, it's going to be on Game Pass.
but I mean, at the end of the day, I think that the thing is that I was telling Michael before we started that a lot of the stuff that we saw in this was either stuff that we already knew about, like Grounded, or DLC for Outer Worlds. Like, I'm super happy about that. I feel like the top of my head didn't get blown off very many times, and a lot of that is probably because Fable and Halo are like okay to me, but I'm not just like, oh my god, Like, I would have been more excited if they had announced a new Ori and the Blind Forest in development as opposed to you can play it at 120 frames per second, which I don't even know if my fucking TV can do 120 frames per second.
I don't know anyone whose things can do all those things.
And I was telling you, too, that I'm also not the biggest medieval fan in the world, and there was a lot of medieval stuff in this. Or just kind of like I don't know. There wasn't a lot of futuristic shit.
No, I got you. There was one thing that I will definitely give it credit for. I did mention this off mic. Is a lot of the characters in a lot of these things are female protagonists.
Sure,
for the most part. For like if you did the thing, like more female protags than male protags for the most part.
Well, I mean, see, it's weird because State of Decay 2 or 3, unless they've changed it up, you can have you can pick anybody, and it's kind of Watch Dogs Legion style.
Yeah, what I mean, like even the other ones. Yeah,
I get you. Yeah, mixed group in Everwild. Tell Me Why is kind of a 50-50 split. A lot of 2, you just see a lot of like you can pick who you want to be. So yeah, I don't know. Like, it didn't jazz me up as much as the thing is that we're going over it before, and a lot of the shit. It's weird because a lot of the stuff that they showed at the PlayStation event didn't. I know it's not exclusive. Like Halo, like Hitman 3, I love Hitman, but it's not exclusive, right? Yeah. Like Resident Evil Village, that's not exclusive to the PlayStation. But there were just bigger things, right?
Well,
Hitman 3 and Halo and Village are more exciting to me than a lot of the stuff that got shown.
There was also
here.
a lot of small things in the Sony one that I just was interested in general.
Yeah,
like you brought up that one with the guy who's like out and about, and then it would cut to the old guy.
Oh yeah, the little demon something. Yeah,
I love like showing the guy like huddled in a cave, scared shitless, and the other guy's just taking a bath, like super calm. And I was really like, all those things made me really excited in the Sony one. With Sony, I was consistently excited about stuff as it progressed.
Yeah,
with Sony, I had a big high because I love Halo kind of thing, and then at that point I just was just like, well, that's neat. Like I never was like, oh my god, it's that thing.
Right.
Like if it was like one of those heartbeat monitors, it would be like I might as well have died after Halo kind of thing.
Well, the other thing that is an interesting question to bring up is Microsoft has put themselves in a very strange situation because I feel like they're trying to make up some of the losses that they had during this console generation.
Yeah.
But they've committed to the idea that, like, this Fable game, right? I should be able to play this Fable game on my Xbox One X.
Yeah.
Unless it's coming out more than, I guess, a year or whatever.
Well, a lot of if you notice on a lot of the trailers on the bottom, it would say what it was for.
Right.
It would say, like, Xbox One, Xbox Series X, and then PC on the bottom.
Yeah.
And if it just said Xbox Series X, I was like, does that fully mean that this is only on this now? Because there's a handful of them that were like that.
Yeah. So it's just an interesting question. Like, even on these YouTube trailers that I've got here, like, I feel like they have the Xbox logo and they also have like an optimized for Series X.
Yeah.
And I'm like, well, does that mean that they're on both? Or does that mean that because like Outer Worlds doesn't have one? I don't know. I don't really know what any of this was.
It's difficult to tell with some of them.
But I don't know. I mean, I guess it's just like it's a solid lineup. But I feel Microsoft is throwing a wider net, and instead of trying to like go all in on like this is why you need the Series X, like they're making a pitch for why you should buy into the Xbox like architecture fully.
Yeah.
And it's like, if you get this, if you get Game Pass, you'll get all these games. You can play them on your Xbox One S diskless or your PC or your phone or your Xbox or your Xbox Series X or you know what'd be really weird? I just thought about what if they put out an update that lets you do the xCloud streaming on the Xbox 360 and the original Xbox.
Oh, Jesus.
If you could literally play Halo Infinite on every single Xbox that's ever been released.
That would be batshit insane. I don't even know how that would work.
You're just like, do you want to play Halo? You play it on any of these
On any of our
motherfuckers.
systems. You own a Microsoft phone? Go for that shit.
Yeah.
We don't even make that shit anymore.
Yeah. Yeah. You got a Zune? You can play Halo Infinite on your
You got
Zune.
the Halo 3 Special Edition Zune?
Yep.
Go for it. Play Halo Infinite on it.
All right. Well, we're just about out of time for this first section, but I did also, there was some pre-show stuff that was interesting in here.
Yes.
I don't know if you watched these.
I did.
Dragon Quest 9 is going to be on the Xbox. This is the first time.
Yeah.
It's coming in, it was like December this
Something
year.
like that, yeah.
Exo Mecha looks like a weird multiplayer
That one caught me off guard
shooter.
Because it reminded me like as if you were in the middle of a Michael Bay Transformers movie.
Right.
Kind of thing. Like watching them fight, and it even has that Transformer-y sound at the end of
Yeah.
it. And I was like, well, that was weird.
It's very strange. It's weird to me because everything in the game, it's like a very bland world, and then all of the characters and vehicles and mechs are all like shiny silver.
Yeah.
It's very
Well,
weird.
Well,
It's
that's why it reminds me of a Michael Bay Transformers movie. 'Cause
Right.
everything was that shiny metal.
I was
Especially when you watch the two robots fight each other.
yeah.
It looks like a Bay former camera angle.
You know what it looks like to me is it looks like you've zoomed into an RTS from like the early 2000s.
I could see that, yeah.
It looks maybe interesting, but I've never wanted cosmetic DLC more for a game.
So strange.
Let's see. Echo Generation actually looked pretty cool. This
Yeah.
is like a weird, like voxel based, turn based RPG, but like set in modern day, and there's some weird supernatural shit going on.
Well, it kind of reminded me a little bit of the Earthbound kind of idea
I could see that.
with some Stranger Things like motifs.
What was that? What was that game that came out? Was it like last year, or the year before, where
The
you had
90s game or
like
whatever?
yeah, like the four kids, and they all had it was kind of like Secret of Mana, but they
Oh,
they were like riding their bikes around, but it was like Stranger
I
Things.
know what you're talking about, but I can't remember what
It
it's called.
kind of reminds me of that a little
But I
bit.
love
too.
the art style on this thing too.
Yeah,
Like the sort of almost bit-like looks, but still really detailed.
yeah. I'm wondering if they're going to use it, if they're going to break apart enemies into voxels like fucking 3D dot game heroes and shit.
That would be neat.
I don't understand Hello Neighbor. Hello,
These guys have gone all in on Hello Neighbor.
I
by
have
the
no
way.
idea. Like I
They're
tried
trying to make a
playing-
cartoon on it right now.
Yeah, I tried playing Hello
Fuck.
Neighbor 1 and I didn't understand it. Like I watched this trailer for Hello Neighbor 2 and it's like it's very impressive, but I feel like when I play the game, the person that's playing this game knows exactly what they're doing. And that when I played the game, I'm going to get killed like 100 times over.
Like, I understood like the appeal to Hello Neighbor, but
Yeah.
I don't understand why they're so gung ho about this property.
I think it's because it's big with YouTubers.
I guess that's true because they made the original one, and it was a huge deal for YouTubers, and it was like in beta back then.
Yeah.
And then it finally came out, and I was a little disappointed because I liked the idea of like as a kid, I like the idea that a kid was trying to figure out what was going on. But then they're like, well, then it takes place when he's an adult. I'm like, well, that's disappointing. And then they made that multiplayer one recently. I don't remember the name of it, but it's where it's like kid. Everybody's a kid, but one of the guys plays the neighbor. But the neighbor can transform or something. Like nothing makes sense to me the longer it goes on.
Yeah.
And now with this trailer, I'm even
There's like a
even
big
more
bird face
confused.
guy.
Yeah, and I'm like, what is any of this?
Apparently, your character is like a reporter that's trying to
Okay.
figure out what's going on.
Yeah, and they're trying to make a cartoon on this, and there's toys, and there's like
I don't get it.
and,
I really
like,
just don't. I do not get
they
it.
want a whole franchise out of this thing, but I'm like, no one really is that excited about Hello Neighbor, guys.
Hey, you know what? Like,
And it's on sale constantly.
it's possible that there might be a huge number of people playing it, but that like I don't know because
Yeah.
nobody I know is into it.
Yeah,
so
same.
you know,
I don't even see the YouTubers who played it playing it even now.
Yeah, I don't know. There was a Square game, Balan Wonderland, which
I have to admit, this looks delightful.
I don't know. This looks like Knights meets Banjo Kazooie to me, and that's like the worst sentence I've ever said out loud. It's like a 3D. I see previously like 3D action character platformer.
Okay.
But you like put on different outfits and get different powers and go around this whimsical world full of different whimsy and collect like crystals and do stuff. And like I'm sure that this will appeal to somebody.
Like I said,
it
it
appeals
just,
to you.
I think it just looks delightful more than anything because the whole plot about like how like it's a game about positivity is really what it comes down to, based on everything. And I'm sure like teenagers and kids will love this shit. Like I was thinking about it. I'm like, if I was a kid, would I have played this? Because I'm overwhelmed by how shiny and colorful everything is.
Yeah, I'm sure it will appeal to quite a few people.
There's an outfit that's straight up just the Tasmanian Devil, though. It was just like Twister Wolf. I'm like, that's a Tasmanian Devil, and you fucking know it.
I just couldn't stop thinking about Banjo Kazooie.
I think it looks
Crash
fun.
Bandicoot. I am not. This is not my jam.
It might get a bit too weird because it's still square, but
Yeah.
I'm sure. So I guarantee some people will really love this thing.
Are you sure that you don't want to play this game where at the end you've got to like put on your fursuit and then fight God because God is always like the Square Enix final boss in
That's
every
true.
game they ever put out?
That's true, yeah. Except for like maybe twice, I think it's usually just God in some way.
Then we also had an ID at Xbox thing, which had a bunch of different things. I'm not going to go over all this in detail. There was like a snowboarding thing. This one was kind of interesting. The one with the different people.
Okay.
Where you play as 3 different people. What? I need to find my notes. Did it tell the notes? Anyway, there was some interesting indie stuff on the ID at Xbox.
This is all stuff that's optimized for the Series X, is what it says.
Yeah. Last Stop, that was the name of it. Which is like it follows 3 different people. Artful Escape, I'm like super into Artful Escape. Like
okay.
I am 100% super into Artful Escape. Like that game looks so trippy and crazy, and I love the way that the music is on it. I like the art style. Some of the stuff like Tunic. This was announced like 2 or 3 years ago.
Quite a while ago,
it was like
actually.
Dark Souls Zelda with a fox.
This could be fun.
It was just weird, like the lake where you're a post office person who just like delivers the mail, and it's about just like meeting people in a town that's by a lake.
Sure. Yeah, I don't know.
There's another one about the whole climbing, exploring thing. I'm the Sable. I'm not.
That's fine, guys.
Exploring. Song of Iron looks cool. This
Yeah, it
looks
does.
really cool. Like side scrolling, fucking old school. Bashing on people Viking style, like yay violence for Jeff.
Finally something. It does look really cool though.
Yeah. XO1 was weird. It was like a flight sim where you're playing as the Flight of the Navigator basically, and
That's kind of neat.
zip zap zooping through a bunch of different worlds, and there's all kinds of crazy stuff going on. I don't know. It's a little odd. There's this one with the hawk, the falconeer, where you ride a giant falcon, and it's like
That looks kind of cool, actually.
air combat in like this weird water world, but where everybody's got a flying bird and you got to fly around and shoot them. I realized when I was watching this that I think, what was that horrible PlayStation 3 game with the dragons?
Dragons? Oh, it was almost a Dragon's Dogma, but I don't think it was that.
Like Lair?
Yeah, Lair.
Is that what I'm thinking of?
Yeah.
Might have poisoned me for all like riding a flying
People
animal
were
thing.
really excited about that game, too.
Yeah.
And so the fall was so hard.
12 minutes I've been super into. That's
Oh, yeah,
the one
they announced this a while back.
Yeah, I think they announced it last year.
Yeah, it was on, I think, the E3 of last year.
Yeah, where you got to repeat everything in a very small
I
environment.
remember being really excited about that one.
The Ascent, I think this is one they showed last time, right? Where you're in like this weird cyberpunk, but with like fantasy creatures thing. You're trying to get up out of it, and it's like kind of a Diablo / Ruiner style like twin stick shooter. I'm all in favor. I did like the Big Con. I don't know if you watched all these, Michael.
I did
not. The Big Con is like this weird game that takes place in the 90s where your video store owes $97,000 and you, 90s kid, like go out and play this weird 90s world RPG of like trying to figure out how to scam enough money to get $97,000. And it's got like, it kind of reminds me of Doug a little bit. It's got
I
this
could see
weird
that.
like mid 90s background.
Let's get like those Rugrats, like Rocko's Modern Life backgrounds thing
Oh,
with
yeah.
squiggles and shit,
Yeah.
which I think is interesting as hell.
Unexplored 2 is supposed to be like kind of a tabletop type of game. I don't know. It looks weird. Mad Streets, I actually really like. This is some kind of party brawler, but physics based.
Oh, okay.
So it's like you're controlling arms, and then everything looks really janky the way that it does, and there's all this beating people up.
They're more detailed than most games like that.
Yeah,
Because there's a lot of games like that nowadays, but the characters are usually just blobs or some kind.
yeah.
These are actual character models.
It looks really funny. It looks really, really funny. And that was it. That was the idea at Xbox. That was stuff that they
That's
showed
cool.
beforehand. So, and with that, we're going to go ahead and take a break. But don't get too comfortable because when we come back, we got to do the whole rest of the news.
Yeah, there's a whole lot more.
So we'll see you in just a minute. And Michael, it is time for the second half, which, because we had an Xbox thing, is now just the rest.
Yes.
It's time for the rest.
And now the rest.
So, mailragesite.com is the email address. I'm not deleting questions. I'm just stacking them up. I feel like
We're staring them down.
I got to find a week where there's like no news for some reason, and then this week we're going to do Oops All Questions edition of Rage Select Podcast. So
the news never stops.
Yep, but the news never stops because we also had a Nintendo Direct Mini Partner Showcase, which was very mini, very partner,
super mini,
and very showcase. So this one is going to go a lot faster than the previous stuff. Cadence of Hyrule is getting a free update and 2 DLC packs.
3 DLC packs.
3 DLC packs. There's a character pack that's going to be adding some new characters, and then there's like a story pack that's going to be adding
Skull Kid.
Skull Kid, yeah. I
famous one.
Really, really liked Crypt of the Necrodancer, Zelda.
Yeah, I never played the Zelda version. I played the original one because Roberto showed it to me when it first came out, and I was smitten. But I'm really bad at rhythm type things.
Yeah,
so I'm not very good at it.
The Zelda one was great because I feel like the Zelda music is really, 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 really good.
Yes,
so it works really well with that. But yeah, they're also having a season pass for it. It's kind of interesting. I don't know. It's just very strange because I played this game, I liked it, I beat it, and I kind of forgot about it. And it was like, oh, right, that was a good game. I enjoyed it.
One of the DLC packs is more music as well. So, yeah, good for them.
Yep, good stuff. Let's see.
Coming out physically as well.
Yes, and like a kind of Game of the Year edition. The second thing is, this is actually more than just Nintendo. Rogue Company came out this week, which I think was announced previously. It was like this third-person kind of action online multiplayer shooter.
Yes.
Because I know it's out on the PlayStation and the Xbox as well, because I keep seeing it in the store. They had some kind of character stuff for it. What's weird is that I feel like right now they're doing the Founders Pack thing, so it's like $15 to play it.
Oh, okay.
I might be interested in trying it out if it was free, even though it doesn't really look like my particular style of video game.
Well, there's a lot of character shooter whatever things going on right now, so
yeah,
you have to really be interesting for me to even care.
Yeah. So I don't know. I mean, it looks fine. Like for what it is, it looks fine.
Yeah.
But
especially for the Switch.
Yeah.
It's really it's a nice looking thing for the Switch.
Yep. WWE 2K Battlegrounds is going to be out on the Switch.
Hooray.
This weird trailer where they had a bunch of razzlers playing it versus each other and yelling at each other. And
yeah.
It was like, when did you film this?
I don't know. Yeah. A lot of wrestlers are giant nerds now, so good for them.
So it was fine. I mean, no new information outside of, I think, like, was there a release date for it previously?
I don't even remember.
I don't know.
I want to say there was.
I think so. I think it might have been last week. There might have announced a release date.
Sounds right.
September 18th. And then the two biggies. So Shin Megami Tensei.
Speaking of fighting God, as we mentioned last time.
Yes. So I hope that you all like. It's funny because you know, right, Michael, that Persona is a spin-off of the Shin Megami Tensei series.
Yes. A lot of people forget that.
And that Persona has become, I feel like, way more popular than Shin Megami Tensei because Shin Megami Tensei is fucking weird.
Well, it's the high school aspect. People love to go back to high school.
Right, but like there was a 3DS re-release of one of these that's like a space one, where you're literally like in weird, like almost steampunky space suits.
I know which one you're talking about.
Yeah. It's really bizarre. I played about half of it, and I was like, no, thank you.
An anime, I think, based on a lot of these as well.
So, Shin Megami Tensei 3, which previously I believe was a 3DS or a DS game.
I think it's a DS game.
Is being basically HD remastered and then put out on the Switch, which is, that's good news, right?
Yeah.
And then we actually knew that Shin Megami Tensei 5 was a thing because the Japanese trailer for it leaked like 8 months ago or something like that. But we now have confirmation that we're getting it, and it's going to be coming out for the Switch.
Good for them.
So, yeah. Did
you ever want to live in a world where God was murdered or something? Play Shin Megami Tensei 5.
I don't know. It's very anime. It's super goddamn anime.
Shin Megami Tensei is batshit insane, guys.
It's one of the most
has been.
It's one of the most anime things that's ever existed.
Yes.
And I can't argue with that. And you know what? It took us all of 5 minutes, including the intro, to talk about that.
I guess we're done. I'm just kidding.
Yeah, except that before we leave here, I have to note that, like, as of right now, if you look at the YouTube video for this Nintendo Direct Mini Partner Showcase, which is what it's called, it's 98,000 upvotes and 75,000 downvotes.
Bunch of dumb motherfuckers.
Because Nintendo fans be fucking crazy.
That's true.
And I went to the YouTube comments and I read some of them, and it was just like, Mini should have been called Nano. And it was like, what? They both mean very small. Like,
they're the same thing, guys.
8 minutes long, and just like, no F-Zero, no Smash, no Mario. And it was like, it says partner in the thing, and just like, fuck you, Nintendo. And I'm like, what are you guys mad about? Like, I feel like this is going to like this is going to the Halo trailer off of the Microsoft Direct and being like, this isn't Ratchet and Clank, thumbs down, fuck you, Microsoft. And you're just like, what?
It doesn't make any sense,
It
guys.
says Halo, not Ratchet and Clank.
This isn't anything you're asking about.
Yeah, so I was kind of tickled by that because I just was like, what the fuck even? Question mark.
Nintendo people are weird. They don't like Nintendo characters in their Nintendo games, for that matter.
Arms, come on, boo, boo, Arms.
I want Goku or Sora.
That's right. A Doom guy, Isabel. Oh wait, Isabel's already in there.
Yeah,
Isabel's already in there.
I want
I want the Stalker from Stalker in that's what I want to do.
I want Morgan from Darkstalkers.
Yeah, I want to start making petitions to put like completely never going to be in a Smash Brothers game characters in a Smash Brothers game.
I'm waiting for the guys to just start asking for porn stars at one point. Put them in Smash. They already smash people. That counts.
I want the Space King from Katamari Damacy in Smash Brothers. I want the protagonist of The Sinking City in Smash Brothers.
I want Cthulhu to be a final boss in Smash Brothers.
I want Eric Cartman in Smash Brothers as the next unlockable
He has the power to have all the powers he wants.
That's right. I just want one of the red guys from Super Hot in Smash Brothers. That's what I want. He just shatters. And it is like his ultimate smash is just stops everybody except for him, and then time only moves when he moves.
That'd be great. I'd play that.
So speaking of bad opinions and having them, one of the things that happened last week that was kind of interesting was Metacritic made a change to their scoring system.
Yes.
This is very controversial. Apparently, moving forward, you will not be able to put a review on a video game on Metacritic until 36 hours have passed from the release of the video game. The rationale, of course, being that no sane human being could rate a video game 10 minutes after it came out unless they were doing so just to be shit.
Yes.
Or I'd like to be 100% clear here, because I feel like we started with review bombing, and there is such a thing as, I feel like, anti-review bombing. I've seen a lot of games where, like,
oh no, it's true.
The review bombers come in and they give it 0s, and then the fans come in and give it 10s, and I'm like, both of you are fucking stupid.
Well, that's what was going on with Last of Us. 100%.
Yeah,
like thousands of negatives and thousands of positives, just saying "fuck you" to the other one over and over again.
Right, because apparently it's just like super important what Man, I use Metacritic all the time. Their website sucks.
Their website's not great.
It is fucking terrible. Like, all I want to do is find out, like, what are the new games that came out, and it's just like 8 clicks to do that. I fucking hate them so much. But I mean, I don't know. What do you think? Good thing, bad thing?
I think it's a good start.
Yeah,
they should figure out a way of, like, the hard thing is, like, what would I do to even further than that? But I feel like it's something that should be looked into further and further, or maybe even a moderation system or something designed to, like, maybe even get rid of all the ones just saying fuck kind of thing.
Yeah.
A lot of them are just like like them cursing out a thing. Just put in some like filters in that kind of way.
Yeah,
Might be able to get somewhere that way.
I mean, like, okay, so I know that. Well, I don't know anymore who the audience of Rage Select is. It's contracted. YouTube doesn't like to show our videos to anybody, but
That's true.
Like,
They hate us.
I don't know if anybody that's listening to this is still kind of in this camp, but so forgive me, but I really wish that on Metacritic there was like an advanced search function where I could essentially aggregate scores by removing scores with keywords. Like,
Oh, okay.
because I can't tell you on like The Last of Us 2 if I'd be like, I would like to remove every user review that has the letters S, J, and W in them,
okay.
and then see what the score is after that. Because like, and the thing is that I don't even think like, I'm not trying to like silence criticism. I'm just saying that as me, Jeff, I don't care if a game
Well, it needs to
is
be actual criticism is the thing.
well, for me, it's like if your problem with a game, and let's just take The Last of Us 2 out because that's a big minefield, right? If your problem with like fucking Ghost of Tsushima is you think that Ghost of Tsushima is all about
Has too many horses.
it's just SJW propaganda, right? Like, well, I don't care about that. So I would like to see like what is the score if I remove everything that like is just you don't like this game because X, right?
Well, that's the thing. Like, to me, a good set of user reviews are actual unique criticisms that aren't just like, I hate the fact that there's Japanese people in my Ghost of Tsushima game.
Right.
It's like that doesn't
Zero.
make any sense.
Yeah.
It's like, or there's too much water in my Pokemon game. That's like, no, that's stupid.
This
That
isn't
doesn't
a
make any
Ratchet
sense.
Clank video. Thumbs down.
Exactly. It's like there's not enough Halo in my Gears of War. Like that's not a thing, guys.
Right.
Like it's like we need like the ability to find like some way to filter out the ones that are clearly not actual reviews.
Actually, I just think that the answer.
I would be okay with like people who have like long reviews,
Yeah.
and then at the last second it is a fuck you review because at least you put some work into that,
Right.
kind of thing. Like something like that. I don't know.
I've heard somebody talk about like an idea where it's like in order to review a game, you have to connect to like either the PSN or the Xbox or Steam, and then it pulls your time played.
Oh, okay.
Like it does, because the Steam reviews have that, right? Where if
Yeah.
like you see a thumbs down Steam review and it's like 0.1 hours played, fuck this, no FOV slider, 0.
Yeah.
And it's like, okay, I don't give a shit about that. Like I care about the story, and like while I may care whether there's an FOV slider, I care more about was the story any good,
Yeah.
not whether it was optimized for mouse and keyboard, PC Master Race #1, huzzah, like so, or it's fucking the frame rate's locked at 30 frames per second. I don't care. Like,
Yeah,
I don't care
no, of
about
course.
that. So it's one of those things where being able to like reduce this stuff would be better.
Yeah, that's a good start. I think it's a great start.
Yeah.
Because a lot of those people are very triggery. Like what's the word I'm looking at? Itchy trigger fingers?
They have itchy trigger fingers.
Yeah, so they'll go like with the second something comes out.
They're fast to react.
Yes.
Yes.
So if you give them 36 hours to be, eventually they'll just be like, it's too much time, and they'll just give up.
They'll get distracted
Yeah.
by something else.
Exactly. They'll get mad at another SJW related thing or something.
I don't know.
Maybe they'll hate us. I don't know.
The other thing, I'm just waiting for it. The other thing I was wondering was like, okay, do you want to do that for like movies too? Like, I'm going to make you think about your movie before
It would be nice, yeah.
you leave a review. I don't want your hot take when you just come right out of AVP and you're like 0. Fuck this movie. I didn't even watch all of it. Because then that would save.
There's not enough The Shadow in this AVP movie.
right. Where is Alec Baldwin? I thought he was going to be in this movie because I imagined that in my head. Boo.
I thought I saw it in a magazine somewhere.
Boo. Because anyway. Well, maybe some of the things that get reviewed on Metacritic will be part of the whole shit ton of demos that they put out on the Xbox.
There's so many demos, guys.
They put 70 game demos on the Xbox for the summer Game Fest thing.
Yes.
They're under their own tab. If you're listening to this, you have 1 day left.
Oh, geez.
Because on Monday they go away. But some of them seem interesting. Was it you and I that were looking at them?
we
Where
were
I was
looking
just
at 'em
like,
yesterday.
I just can't tell if any of these are any good. And
It's difficult.
the one thing I'll say about every, let me think. Yes, every single video game delivery service is that I hate. I find it very difficult to to look at a game that I don't already know something about and get information about it.
Yeah.
And a lot of that is because, like, on the PlayStation, it's like you've got to move to a different place to start the trailer. On Xbox, when you go to a thing, it starts the trailer, but it's got the game description at the bottom, and it has to go away. I hate the Steam streaming trailer service.
Yeah.
It always fucks up on my system. So it was really hard, like, for me going through the Xbox store to be like, are any of these worth playing? And I was like, card game, battle game, card game, turn-based swimming game. No. I've looked at 5 of the 70, and I don't care to go through all the rest of these.
There's some stuff in there that looked like it'd be cool. The good news is that since they're demos, it wasn't really like, you don't spend anything on it. Really. Just time more than anything.
I mean, like, I would be interested in playing the demo for Destroy All Humans, but Destroy All Humans comes out on Tuesday. So
okay, that's true.
And like Skatebird was in there, but Skatebird. The other problem that I have with this particular set of demos is a lot of the best demos that were on there are demos that have already been on Steam. So I can see this being much more useful to people who don't have access to that.
Good for them.
Because like Chris Tales is on there and stuff like that. So,
okay.
Yeah. In other Xbox news, there was a really strange thing where Phil Spencer was asked basically if Xbox Game Pass would ever be coming to PlayStation or Nintendo Switch. Which was a really strange question to ask. That is a
strange question, yeah.
And the thing is, his answer was even more strange. I'm so glad that the Xbox has Phil Spencer because he knows how to like answer a dumb question with a like equally kind of obtuse dumb answer.
I kind of love Phil Spencer, to be honest.
And basically, he said that like the problem is that if you have the Xbox Game Pass, they want you to have the full Xbox experience, which means that you need to have achievements and the community and the full game library. And unfortunately, you just can't do that on the PlayStation 4. I mean, we have achievements and they have trophies, and like I just want people to be able to get their achievements, and you can't do that on the PlayStation. So we'll probably never bring Xbox Game Pass to the PlayStation.
I love that answer so much because it's so overly complicated.
Yeah,
to just say no.
It's stupid. It's such a weird dodge where it's like, no, dude. Like
I don't remember who I was talking to. But I don't even remember if it was fairly recently where somebody was like, they're going to release all the Halo games on the PS4. I'm like, that doesn't sound like a thing that's going to happen.
I mean,
somebody was adamant that this was a thing that will happen.
I guess the thing is that it would be if like everything's going into the PC, right?
Yeah.
Because the Master Chief Collection is Halo 3 came out last week on the PC. And like Horizon Zero Dawn is coming out on the PC. I wouldn't be surprised if for the next 2 years we see Bloodborne on the PC. It wouldn't surprise me. But then the question is like, will you ever see Bloodborne on the Xbox One? Normally I would say no, but like Dragon Quest and Yakuza are on there, so
Sony's more willing to let some of their stuff go though, compared to Microsoft.
Can you ever think of like a first-party Sony game that's come to not the PC but to Xbox or Nintendo?
Well, nothing that wasn't later down the line at least, but it was always because it left the original studio.
Yeah,
like a lot of the ones, the famous examples are the PS1 ones, which was Spyro and Crash Bandicoot, but they left their studios, or they were no longer being made by the original studios, and by that point, they're like, everything has it, kind of thing. I'm not saying like it's probably never going to happen for things now, but who knows? Maybe one day Uncharted will just randomly leave Naughty Dog's hands, and somebody will make an Xbox Uncharted game. You never know.
I think it would be really strange. I mean, like the example that comes to mind for some reason is, you remember when they put out Metal Gear Solid 2 on the Xbox?
Yes, yeah.
And it was just like, holy shit!
Substance came out on that, and there was exclusive game modes depending on which version you had.
Yeah,
because the PS2 had the skateboarding sequence. And the Xbox had that first-person VR missions thing that you could do, which was a pain in the ass, but it was something kind of thing.
Yeah.
Which I don't think they did in some of their re-releases, unfortunately.
It's very strange. Anyway, probably don't hold your breath for Xbox Game Pass on the PlayStation or the Switch. Speaking of PlayStations, we got some PS5 news. One was an interview, or not really an interview, but just kind of, we were talking with Jeff Keighley when he was showing off the controller, saying that like they are not, Sony is not just going to like stealth put the PlayStation up for sale.
Oh, okay.
They will tell people ahead of time, like, this is the day and time when the PS5 will go on sale.
Things are going to get hectic, guys.
Instead of just being like, now.
Just in the middle of a conversation, they're announcing something else, and out of nowhere, he just goes, oh, by the way, PS5s for pre-order and for the next order business.
I want it to be like it was so strange. Like during Ubisoft's Forward conference, they just come out.
Such a dick move.
They just like the screen like tear. Or it's like a bunch of static, like during Watch Dogs Legion, like they're being hacked by DedSec, and it's got the DedSec thing, and it's just like we've released the PlayStation 5. No, really, and then just pull off like a helmet. It's like one of the actual Sony executives are like, no, really, it's on sale. Go get it. It's on Amazon right now.
Giant dick move that Sony totally could have done.
Yeah,
if they were crazy enough. Is literally in the middle of the Xbox
One.
Just be like the second 10 minutes hits into it, they just like, now you can pre-order it, and everyone just gets the fuck off of that stream.
Yep, nobody's watching.
Yeah,
0 viewers.
It'd be amazing.
It would have made it would have calmed the shit show that is every game live stream chat down.
That's true,
because all the Sony fans would have fucking left to go to fight to get it. So, but yes, get your money ready. It's funny because I've been so a fan after we played the Devolver Expo. And the frame rate got so fucking terrible. I've had like multiple people who are just like, Jeff, can you tell me what your computer is? Because I probably have some like 4-year-old parts that are better than what you're running.
It's
and
true,
I will
though.
send them to you. And I've been meaning to get a new PC, but then it's like I have some money right now that I could use because I finally paid my taxes from a PC. But I'm like, but I need that money for when the PS5 and the Series X go on sale because that's more important at this point than getting a new PC. Like, at least the PS5 is.
Yeah. That's right, Xbox.
Yeah.
You heard us.
Well, all that shit's available on the Xbox app on my PC, right?
Plus, you have the Xbox One X.
Might as well.
I don't know why I pointed at your PS4 Pro when I said that.
Yeah. Look, Game Pass is not on it, Michael. How many times do I have to tell you? So, yeah. But then we also had a second thing where somebody actually did some data mining, and apparently the PlayStation Direct website has some code in it that seems to indicate that they will be attempting to limit the number of PlayStation 5 purchases to 1 per household.
It's a good move.
Which is a very good move.
The thing is, it's probably going to be based by IP address.
Yeah.
And we all know how that'll end.
The idea that, like, people have burned through all of the Nord servers, tried to get other ones, and it's just like, nope, well, I see you. Nope, that one already got one. That one's already got one too. That one's already got one too. Yeah, France? Nope, we're not taking orders from France for U.S. PlayStations.
These VPNs are going to go nuts.
The thing is that I actually looked up one time, like, the tools that a lot of people use when there's like limited edition pre-order stuff, that they have like these bots that they set up to basically like spam order into a website. And I'm like, do I need to do that? I really need a PlayStation 5. Like I don't just want a PlayStation 5. I need a PlayStation 5. Like,
it's true. At least in your instance, you do need one.
Yes. Yeah.
Like, I really want one. I don't technically need one, but I really want one.
Yeah. I don't know, like, the last time this happened was with the Switch, and I don't know why I was so just like, meh, whatever. And then I was like, no, go get it. Michael, wait in line for 12 hours. I need one.
That was one of my favorite experiences. But I was there for almost 24 hours.
Oh, shit.
If you do remember that whole thing?
Yeah, I do.
I showed up at like 4, it's a whole thing. I'm just going to mention the first part of it. I showed up at 4 in the morning, and there was a guy who'd already been there 2 hours before me.
Yeah.
And I hung out with that guy, and it became this huge, like, fun thing. That was just amazing. Oh, so much fun, guys.
That sounds awful. Hanging out with another person for that long.
My Facebook has a bunch of like updates from it, and it's from like that memory.
Oh.
It came up not that long ago. My favorite was I was like, I've started playing Mario Party with the guy next to me. The mood has shifted.
In other PlayStation news, we got news that apparently Spider-Man Miles Morales will have a 4K 60 FPS performance mode on the PS5.
Neat.
Now, why this is apparently an optional thing that you could turn on and off, unsure. Think that it might be due to, like, you got to turn the ray tracing off if you want to fucking do 60 FPS down the street at 4K, like, type of thing.
That's weird.
But yeah, Insomniac tweeted that apparently you're going to be able to do that. So, which the original wasn't 60 frames per second, was it?
I don't know. I never noticed. Is the only thing. I'm not one of those guys who's really good at noticing that.
I think it was 30. Let's see. In other news, we had a report from Ubisoft that apparently, at least for the time being, they are going to be selling the next slate of Ubisoft games are going to be priced at $60. There's been a question recently about whether this next gen is going to finally be the point where we get up to $80 for
the 70 minimum is what some people are thinking.
Yeah,
because who is it that's doing it?
NBA 2K11.
Right.
Yeah. I think did you and I talk about this last time that this came up?
I think so.
I mean, like I'm
because I mentioned that I'm already buying like $80-$90 versions of games.
Yeah,
like fighting game wise, at least minimum.
I mean, just to briefly reiterate, like if you think that this game is worth $80 and you think that the market will pay $80, then I don't have a problem with that.
Yeah.
However, if it's $80 and full of microtransactions and you want to sell me a season pass, well, then we're probably going to have some words, folks, because I'm not the one who made you make your game take a billion people to make. So
also, this year hasn't exactly been good for people financially.
Yeah.
So,
You might need to wait for,
market can't handle a lot of things right now, guys. I'm sorry, but it's true.
Yeah. That's always been my statement about this is like, hey man, if you think you could sell that cheeseburger for $40 and you think it's worth $40, and go ahead. If nobody buys it, then it may be worth $40, but if nobody will buy it, nobody will buy it.
That's true.
So, you may have to sell it for $5.
It's the same with anything.
Yeah.
That's why the Pawn Star guy is so adamant about selling it selling it to you for so little.
Yeah.
He's like, best I can do is $4 or whatever.
I don't know what that is. I don't watch Pawn Stars. In other Ubisoft news, we actually have a lot of bad Ubisoft news, so let's finish out with the good Ubisoft news. Okay, this is super speculative, but apparently the Italian voice actor for Sam Fisher, tweeted out that there's going to be a new Splinter Cell game. Like he was tied up doing voices on Cyberpunk and a few other things, but now he's free again, and that he's going to be doing a Splinter Cell game.
That's interesting.
I have decided that I don't want a Splinter Cell game. Not now, at least.
That's fine. Yeah, that's fair, actually.
Because see last week's podcast, I'm just not really super having what Ubisoft is doing right now.
Yeah.
And this is like, this is some fucking speculation.
It's super speculative.
Speculative zone
it's
over
like
here.
You said Italian voice actor for Sam. Not even just Michael Ironside himself.
Well, I think Michael Ironside is too much of a professional to do it.
He definitly would not do it.
Like, hey, I'm going to be a Sam Fisher. Sorry, I apologize to all Italians. Like,
I'm just picturing Sam Fisher talking like Super Mario now. Where are the Nuka codes? That was a terrible Mario, by the way.
Actually, but see, okay, this leads us to the really bad stuff with Ubisoft. There is too much of this to go over all in 1 week.
That's true.
I recommend that everybody go read Jason Schreier's huge thing that he published over at Bloomberg. But basically, okay, I will paraphrase as much as humanly possible. Ubisoft, unlike I feel like a lot of other places, was started by there are 5 Guillemot brothers.
Really?
Yes. And it is like a family business. Like they apparently the Guillemots, like they sold like farm equipment, and then like when the computers started being sold, like the sons asked their parents if they could get some seed money to try to then sell games to like the farmers around them that like had computers because they all got computers one year or whatever.
That's fascinating.
And that's like the beginning of it. So what this kind of leads to is that apparently Ubisoft, okay, this is a weird thing, and you guys, everybody go read this for yourself, right? Don't just listen to me talk about it. Go read it. It's fine. It's actually a fascinating read, right? But what this has meant is that, when you think of a French company, right? I know that this is just me being an ugly American, but like all of Ubisoft's games are all just kind of like very European, very just like
very much so.
Whatever. I don't know, what I'm saying here. They don't seem like they're full of like a lot of bravado and machismo and typical American, like, yeah, fuck that bitch in my monster truck, toss me a Coors and a cheeseburger, bro. But apparently the internal like culture in Ubisoft was very like old school brotastic.
Oh, okay.
There is a character in this story so 3 executives have been put on suspension from Ubisoft. One of them has been let go. When you read this story, you're going to find a lot of stuff in here that is basically like, this is shitty corporate workplace 101. Yeah. Like The boss asked out this woman that worked in marketing. She said no 4 times and complained to HR. And then they nobody would talk to her. And eventually they were like, you have to move to the studio over in France now.
Yeah.
Like, you have to be removed from the studio. Or like a lot of massages from dude bosses, like to employees, regardless of whether they wanted them or not. There's a story about they were having a meeting and one of the female executives in the meeting excused herself, and the guy that was running the meeting pulled up like this erotic French music video, and he was like, doesn't this lady look like the fucking Jane? And everybody was like, I mean, I guess, or whatever, and then like closed it when the lady came back, and somebody told her, and she was like, I'm uncomfortable with that, and that the HR was like, well, you should go work that out with him. You should just go talk, and you two should have a heart to heart. I'm sure he'd understand if you worked it out. Apparently, there's just like a million stories of this scenario, which
Jesus Christ.
Anybody who's worked at a big enough company from a certain time period knows of. Just like, there is a dumb fucking upper management culture of like, come out and drink with us, bro. And then when you don't, like, you don't ever get a promotion, and you get like skipped over, and like, no, don't you want to come to fucking Hooters with us for lunch? And you're like, no, I want to go to Thundercloud. I enjoy the food there. It's like, but there's hot bitches at Hooters, and then
But then you're like, the hot wings aren't very good,
right? But apparently, one of these jerks is one of the studio heads is a guy that was like a super close friend of Guillemot, of Yves. This guy named, I don't know how to say his name.
I'm not even try.
Haskoet. He was originally a tester, and then he like became upper management, and he was untouchable. Like, multiple HR complaints, never got reprimanded, never got fired. Everybody just had to learn to work around this guy.
Yeah.
This guy is the reason that Ubisoft is like this.
Oh, wow.
Like, in later on, there are numerous reports where this guy was like, people don't want like closed world narrative stories. That's not what players want. We want open world, light narrative. Like, we don't want cutscenes. We want like logs between characters, because we want our players to have a sense of freedom. Apparently, this guy was fucking obsessed with this concept. And I think it shows when you look at the Ubisoft games and you're like, oh, is this why all of these games are the fucking same game?
Jesus.
Not only that, but apparently there are a bunch of stories where this guy, as well as some of the other producers mentioned, shut down like a lot of like Ubisoft. Okay, let's go all the way back to Assassin's Creed Unity. Why can't you play as a woman in Assassin's Creed Unity? Michael, why can't you play as a woman in Assassin's Creed Unity?
Jesus, I don't even want to say it anymore.
Because the animation is too hard. We would have to do all these animations. So then we get to Assassin's Creed Syndicate with Jacob and Evie Fry, and apparently in the beginning it was a very 50-50 split between the two of them. This fucking guy over here made it so that it's more like a 70-30 split between Jacob as the main character and Evie as a side character. Yeah. When it came to Assassin's Creed Origins, Bayek, the main character, was supposed to die early on in the game.
Really?
And you were supposed to play the rest of the game as his wife. That was axed. When it came to Assassin's Creed Odyssey, Cassandra was supposed to be the main character, the only main character, and this guy like pushed it back until it was made to be a 50-50 split.
That explains a lot.
Be either one of them. Apparently, at any point in time where there was a possibility of having like a lady protagonist in a game, this guy was like, gamers don't want lady protagonists, it won't sell. Gamers don't want lady protagonists, Michael, and they don't want cutscenes, and they don't want they want open worlds.
This explains so much.
No cutscenes. They want RPG systems, and so like I could not be happier that this fucking guy is gone.
Yeah, fuck
like,
this guy.
For the social reasons, for the gaming reasons, all the way down the line.
Fuck me.
Like fuck that guy. So yeah, again, there's a lot more. You should go read this story, but this explains to me a lot of like what has happened at Ubisoft over the years.
Pretty much also kind of explains why a lot of things just turned out the way they have in general for a lot of just gaming stuff.
Yeah. So there's also, this has become a big thing. There was actually even like, because apparently Yves Guillemot, like they do like a lot of calls with their investors. And there was actually a call that happened just recently where somebody asked Guillemot basically like, so were you unaware of all this sleazy shit happening in your company, or were you aware and you didn't do anything?
Oh, jeez.
And then they said like, there might be another option that I haven't listed, but like I will let you answer. And his answer was basically like, the impression that I get from his answer was that he pulled the dodge of just like, well, I didn't know that this shit was going on. Like, I had some inklings, but then I told people, like, don't do that. And then they did it behind my back. And I don't know.
Yeah.
And it's like, fuck's sake. Like, I don't know. I don't know how many people out there really love Ubisoft, but I'm kind of like, I kind of wish that they would just kind of start over with some of the way that they work, because Guillemot is not, he's staying there. They're supposed to be bringing in an outside firm to kind of like restructure stuff and like, I don't know, put it like an HR department that actually listens when people are like, hey, that guy keeps fucking touching me. Stop touching me. Also, reading this brought up all of my bad experiences from back when I used to work in the corporate world, where I'm like, I mean, I've never been massaged by my boss, but I was and have been, I feel like, several times passed over because I wasn't the right like kind of person that what they wanted for like management were, you know, fucking having beers at lunch and talking about NASCAR, because we live in Austin, Texas. And that I didn't do that. And so they were like, well, I don't know that you're really management material. And now I run my own business, bitch. So
suck it.
Anyway, I really, really, really suggest everybody go read that article because it's fascinating.
Yeah.
And I hope that this means that we're turning a corner with Ubisoft. Oh yeah, I forgot. We are now into the depressing bad section. So,
Jesus,
we've got a little bit of. We're going to stay here for a few minutes, but we're going to get out. I don't know if you know this, but last week we had some Deadly Premonition 2 controversy. Apparently, in Deadly Premonition 2, there is a transgender character. Apparently,
Francis said the controversy is that it came out.
Yeah. Apparently, Francis York Morgan talks about how we need to be super inclusive, and then like dead names the crap out of the trans character, and it's very strange because it's like, well, don't do that, York.
That's weird.
Swery came out and said, hey, this is a problem. We're going to fix it. Direct your comments to me, please. This is my issue. Apparently they have fixed it, but in a very strange way where they just took like the dead name out. So there's like a big weird pause now in the dialogue system. And then the trans character replies with their previous name, with their dead name, because that was part of the previous sentence. So it's a little like kludgy.
So it just doesn't. Okay.
Yeah. So not great. Now I will say this happened in a week. Right.
Oh, really?
Like this was last week.
Yeah, because it just came out.
Yeah. Yeah. So this happened really quickly. I don't know if like I can see with COVID, getting them to re-record some dialogue and going in and changing scenes.
Yeah.
That might take more time. I don't know if they're still planning on doing that or if this kludge is like the thing. Apparently they also did a little bit of fixing on the frame rate, but this was like their primary concern because
which is fair.
They were getting dragged for it. So, as last week, I'll just say that like if you look at Swery's other games, like the missing the disappearance of JJ McKenzie or whatever, like that apparently had some kind of queer and trans stuff in it that was handled much better.
Oh, okay.
So it seems to be the sort of thing where something happened that this wasn't like an intentional. And Swery is trying to basically make good,
which is good. Good for them.
I'll tell you, who's not trying to make good. There's a this is a really strange story. There is a company that is called Voltage Entertainment that makes a phone game called Love Struck, which is an episodic romance visual novel kind of thing. And apparently they have a bunch of freelance writers because they do a lot of updates. They have a lot of different stories and they have a lot of different updates. And apparently they pay their writers garbage and make them work like fucking crazy. So apparently they're talking about doing turnaround for like a single story in like 3 days.
Jesus Christ.
Which the writers like keep pushing back and saying like, I need a week to do this. And apparently there was a few cases where they were like, okay, you can have a week. It's due on Tuesday of next week. And then they give them the prompts on like Friday. So they don't give them a week. They give them like
ridiculous.
4 days. Apparently they also pay them just absolute shitballs. Industry standard is apparently between 5 and 8 cents a word or a letter. A letter? Is that it? For like normal writing. They pay them like 3. Yeah, 8 cents a
Jeez.
word. They just paid them like 3 cents a word. So they all quit, or they all struck, basically,
Yeah.
and said, like, we want a full week and, like, industry standard. Now, they decided to come back and tell and say that they would raise them up to, I believe it's like 5 cents a word. But then this company has also been kind of a shitbag about this because they've been like, this is not a true union, and so we will not negotiate with you collectively. We will only negotiate with each person individually. And hey, man, we haven't even fired any of these guys, so we're like technically in the right over
Jesus
here.
Christ.
So yeah, one of the things about pointing out horrible garbage crunch in the game industry is you got to do it when it's for a shitty visual novel phone game.
That's so fucking ridiculous.
So, yeah, I'll tell you what else is ridiculous. That I have to bring up Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez in my video game show.
That's interesting.
Yes. Last week, there was a story about how the United States military is apparently using their Twitch channel to send people to a website that says, like, free controller giveaway, but then also uses some of the information collected to do, like, recruiting. And apparently there's also a thing that happens where Twitch, like the U.S. Army, has a Twitch channel and like an esports team. You remember when we just
I remember the esports thing,
the speed running to get off their Discord thing? And so this has kind of come up recently and been a thing where, like, so if you go to the U.S. Army's Twitch channel and you start asking about, say, morally questionable things that may have been done by the United States military, you will get banned. Now, there's a question about, like, this is a government institution, and you're not flaming them. Yeah, you're like pointing out something that the organization they belong to. So, like, what's the score on moderation here?
I've thought of it that way.
And apparently, Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez has tried to throw some legislation into a budget bill to basically say that the Army and Navy can't use streaming platforms to attempt to recruit people into their organizations.
It's America's Army game all over again.
I'm sure is going to go over super well. I want to make it clear that, like, I just like, I have a little bit of an issue with this, but the issue I have is, like, I don't hate people that are in the military. Like, I'm just you know. But the idea of, like, creating these, like, rabid kind of online fans, like, people get the parasocial relationship when they watch people play video games. I mean, I know.
Yes.
And then using that as a weird way to funnel people into recruitment is just a strange thing that I think requires some further examination.
It's a fairly new kind of concept, though, so I don't know. That's a tricky one.
Yeah. And apparently in response to this, the U.S. Army has, like, stopped all their streaming. Apparently the Navy is still streaming, but the Army is not streaming any longer.
Just all Village People music videos.
Yes.
That's all they're doing on the Navy one now.
It's very odd. I mean, I saw some folks on the Discord server talking about it, and, like, I do want to make it clear that I'm not just like, the Army is full of baby-killing villains, right? But it's just, like, it's a weird thing to wonder about, like, using, like, you know, if the Army put out a series of, like, really popular video essays on YouTube about war movies, and then, like, used the fans on, and then, like, at the end of their popular video essays were like, now, and if you want more information about joining the Army, you can go to this website. It's a strange thing to see that in the new, like, these weird new spaces, right?
Yeah.
It's just, I don't really know what to make of that. And I'm still thinking about it. So, I don't know. Speaking of the Army, well, not really. Speaking of military stuff, we're out of the zone of strangeness. We got some more leaks with Call of Duty Black Ops. Apparently, I don't know if you've seen. Have you seen the thing that's on the stores where, like, there's this thing called the Red Door?
No.
It's technically the alpha for. It's a store listing on, like, the Xbox, and I think it's technically the alpha for the next Call of Duty game, but it's got
weird.
a really strange description on it. But apparently some people did some data mining and found a bunch of different map names.
It's a scary door.
Indicating also that there's probably a zombies mode in here. There's also just a series of what appear to be different map names for different places. So, yeah, I'm kind of curious to know why the fuck they haven't just announced a new Call. We know there's going to be a Call of Duty game, right? It's goddamn July. It's almost August. Like, you guys only have a few more months before you're going to have to put the game out. So
I don't know. Yeah, that's interesting. Yeah, we haven't heard anything about it in so long.
We had technically a quote unquote PlayStation conference and a quote unquote Microsoft conference, and neither one of them had a Call of Duty announcement at them.
I'm more surprised the Xbox one didn't have one. Although Sony's been pretty good about that recently with Call of Duty.
I feel like in this generation, Sony locked Call of Duty into the PS4.
A lot more now, yeah.
But
that's why I thought maybe Microsoft would consider jumping on that for the next gen, but I don't know. I guess not.
Yeah, I don't know. Hopefully we'll see something soon. In other multiplayer news, Michael, everybody, your favorite game, Godfall.
Oh, jeez.
Your favorite game. You know that. Apparently, we'll have no microtransactions. And I know you were on the fence about whether you were going to buy Godfall on day one, based on whether it was going to have microtransactions
yes, that's all
or not.
I talked about.
Yeah. He won't shut up about it, ladies and gentlemen. I just can't. I can't get him to stop talking about it. So for anybody that's wondering, Godfall will indeed have no microtransactions.
Good for them.
Yes. We also got some news this week about the second part of Final Fantasy VII that is apparently being furiously worked on, and they would like to get it out to us soon. That's kind of all that there is to actually say about this, because
at least now they're working on it.
Yeah.
Because before, I remember they're like, so you're working on it? No. We have no idea what the fuck we're going to do. It's like, what the fuck, guys?
Yeah. So we'll see. I don't really have much more to say than that. Let's see. Let's do some videos. We got a really strange video. Michael didn't actually watch this video. Last week, apparently, we got a leak off of somebody's an artist's resume about the game that Sucker Punch was developing before they made Ghost of Tsushima.
Oh.
That's called Prophecy, and we got like a 10-minute kind of vertical slice gameplay section of it. It's like this kind of steampunky, like almost Assassin's Creed style thing, with like I watched this whole thing, and it's interesting. It reminds me in some ways of Ghost of Tsushima, but it's a very like medieval knights, but then like there's all this kind of, I don't know, it's kind of some, the main character throws dust at people that like explodes a lot.
Yeah.
But there's also a lot of Assassin's Creed flavor in here.
His outfit's like out of place with everything else around him.
He's got like a fur coat on. Most of it is this kind of running around, but like this was very obviously like a trailer that was supposed to be shown at an E3, or like a vertical slice that you were going to see at an E3, because there's a lot of running and like hiding, and then running and fighting and picking stuff up. It's interesting. It looks like a pretty, like, it doesn't seem that unfinished. It seems really polished.
They worked really hard on this. Because if it was super unfinished, there would be a lot more details
jank.
Gone. Yeah. Like there's some jank here and there, but it's not really all that noticeable unless you're really looking for it.
Well, especially when you consider that Ghost of Tsushima has been in development for what, like 5 years or something like
it's
that?
been in development for a long time.
So was this like a year before that? Are we talking about like, is this 6 years old? Because
I don't know.
That would be amazing.
Maybe. Maybe they'll bring it. Maybe they'll work on it again. Who knows?
Yeah, I don't know.
There's a lot of used assets.
There's a lot of stuff in here that definitely seems like it might have been factored in, some of the stealth stuff and some of the action kind of gameplay stuff. Both this and Ghost of Tsushima and all those stories about Ubisoft just brought me back to the thing where I'm like, man, I miss when Assassin's Creed used to be a franchise that I liked.
Right.
Like when I used to be just like all in.
I used to be really excited about Assassin's Creed games.
Yeah. And because this really reminds me of what kind of old school Assassin's Creed stuff. Let's see. We also got a trailer this week for Bomb Rush Cyberpunk. I don't know if you know this, but this is like the spiritual successor to like Jet Grind. Apparently, even the person who did the music for Jet Grind is doing the music for this.
Really?
Yeah. Which you can't hear right now because I didn't have Michael watch any of these before we started.
That's okay, yeah. It looks interesting.
Yeah, it's kind of
set future. I look to it,
and it's being made by the people that made Lethal League. Do you remember that? It was like some kind of, I don't really remember. I played it a long time ago, but it was like a sport game.
Yeah, still no idea.
Anyway, so there was that. We also got the best trailer that Michael didn't watch. 17 minutes of Shadow Warrior 3.
Oh, damn.
Which was pretty friggin' incredible. It looks like definitely they're going back to their roots of like not a Diablo-style RPG. This very much reminds me of the first one. I was actually thinking when I was watching this how it's not really a fully formed thought, so you'll have to excuse me. But I was thinking how when I was watching Halo, and Halo looked like, I don't know, Halo just seemed very old to me. And I think that when I watched this, it was like, I think that the FPSs that I've really enjoyed over the last few years have gotten like more crazy, more frenetic, like bigger, more bombastic with more just like explosions.
Like
and,
Doom and
like
and the Wolfensteins.
Yeah, like Doom and Wolfenstein, and in some cases even though I wasn't the biggest fan of it, like Rage and Shadow Warrior and stuff. Like this trailer just has, they've got some of these battle arenas where there's like just a huge amount of shit going on, and these kind of crazy enemies and these like big fireworks going off. I mean, the whole thing is just sensory overload. Yeah. And meanwhile, just kind of running around in this arena and blasting on stuff. It's absolutely great. All like a lot of the later on, I don't think it's in this part of the trailer, but later on we see a lot of Lo Wang using the grappling hook to pull guys over and then slash them with the sword. There's a part at the end of this that is absolutely amazing where he's fighting in this arena with these gigantic saw blades.
I've seen this part.
And like kicking people into the saw blades, and it all culminates in him shooting the two saw blades to make them close on one of the bigger enemies and just like crunch them into a
really cool
blood geyser. Strangely, I actually can talk to you about the trailer or about the story because in the beginning of this, it appears that Lo Wang is working with Orochizilla again. And there's a lot of great one-liners in here. There's a part where when he gets the grappling hook that I think is absolutely incredible, where he's on a crumbling thing, and there's like a corpse hanging, and he jumps to grab onto the corpse, and his face accidentally lands in the corpse's crotch. And he's just like, no.
There it is.
Yeah. All of the facial animations, everything on here looks really great. All the explosions and the particle effects and the physics look really great. The environments look really, really great. At the very end, like through this entire segment, Orochizilla is telling him all about the different, like the architecture and everything that's happened. And so at the very end, when he meets back up with him, there's kind of a really great thing where like all of the entire thing falls down, like this whole shrine falls down around them.
Oh, jeez.
And then Lo Wang is like, well, the doors are intact. They open the doors. I love Shadow Warrior, and like having played it with you and then going back and played the second one, I just can't wait for Shadow Warrior 3.
It's super exciting.
Like it looks so freaking good. There's a lot of funny stuff. I recommend everybody go watch this trailer. There's also a 14-minute trailer showing off all the work that's being done in the original Mafia. A lot of comparisons between when the original Mafia came out and the work that they've done. It appears that they've gone back obviously and recaptured like all of the different characters in it. It's funny because it reminds me a lot of L.A. Noire, except that there's actually a lot of shooting and driving
stuff to do is what you're saying.
Action-packed.
That's what you want to say.
Yeah. It looks absolutely incredible. Like it looks really beautiful.
They put a lot of work into it.
Like lovely facial expressions. There's a lot of like smoke and stuff. They showed a few different action set pieces. Apparently, they're looking to make it really hard.
Wait, what?
The combat is supposed to be like their rationale is that the combat, the character from the third one was like, he was like a special forces guy.
Oh, okay.
Whereas this guy's like a cab driver.
So they want to make it like where he's not as an accurate kind of
right.
fire.
It seems like they want to like kind of emphasize more like blind fire and picking your shots. I did notice during this that the main character does have a like a straight up regular health bar, and when they take damage, it does not regenerate. So,
that's interesting.
I think we're going back to that whole thing.
That's rarer than it sounds, people.
Yeah, these days, definitely. And I've seen like later on when they're inside of this section that we're watching, there's this barn, and there's like a health thing on the wall where I think you go to get health
That's
back.
interesting.
But it looks really good. I mean, all the like lighting and the particle effects and the physics and the facial expressions and all the ways that they've made the characters look. It all looks absolutely fantastic. So yeah, and that's coming out in not too terribly long.
Yep.
From there, we also got a trailer for a boss trailer for this game called Other Side that's coming out next week that I'm really, really interested in. This is one of those their Focus Interactive joints.
Oh, that's right. Yeah, I remember the first trailer for this.
Mm-hmm. And it's this black and white, it's this monochrome game with like very much splotches of red inside of it. What I didn't know about this game, Michael, and I don't know if you even know this, probably not, because I think I only found this out last week when I watched the trailer for this. This is a turn-based XCOM style game.
Really?
Yes. Each one of the ladies is like a different like lady that you turn-based XCOM with, and they have different powers, and you level them up.
That's crazy.
Yeah, it's freaking bizarro.
Yeah.
This comes out like by the time you hear this in a couple days, and I really kind of want to play it.
I didn't even realize it was that soon, because I remember the trailer not being that long ago.
Yeah, I think it might have been. Was it at the Xbox thing, or was it earlier than that?
Yeah, I think it was very early on in the year.
And it's got this very like gothic horror, these kind of like weird looking bosses, kind of Cthulhic almost. And then the black and white style really works for it because all the detail is jumps out at you, right? It's very striking. So, yeah, check out Other Side. Also, a game that you and I played. Fantasy Strike went free to play this week.
Yay.
So the people that don't remember, Fantasy Strike was one of those like special attacks are just a button fighting games, and they actually put out a bunch of stuff. So first off, it used to be that you were free to play with like one or two characters, but to get all of them you had to buy the game. Now all the characters are free to play. They added 2 new characters into the game. And then they also added like a bunch of new cosmetics and costumes and animations and stuff. And they added, what's very strange, a subscription service to get more features, including more costumes and then like a replay theater and some other stuff.
That's weird.
Yeah, I don't really know that getting access to a replay theater
is that interesting
is enough to do a subscription, but then I don't know how much the subscription is.
I can see people doing it for the costumes or something, though.
Yeah, I don't know. Do you think that... did I read wrong? And that like, wasn't this originally going to be in like the Evo Online? They were actually going to let Fantasy Strike in there?
I wouldn't be surprised, but it's been so long. I don't even remember what the announcement was for that thing.
Yeah.
I just remember they canceled it eventually.
I had a really good time playing Fantasy Strike, and it's free. So
yeah, I thought it was fine. I just remember being kind of weirded out by a lot of these obviously like copied animations kind of thing.
Oh, well, I mean, the characters totally have analogs to other characters. It's like, oh, this is Guile. Oh, that's Cat.
But they were like full on the exact same motions kind of thing, I think was my issue. But I remember people being kind of not super keen on us having played it, it's kind of thing.
Really?
Because you remember we weren't like all that good at it.
Oh.
Compared to what they thought.
Yeah.
So like, oh, that character does this. And I'm like, I didn't know, dude. Like,
oh yeah,
we just played it the one time kind of thing.
I don't know. That's just fucking, that's rage select, man.
Yeah, that's just rage select, yeah.
That's YouTube. The number, I found a couple of comments last week where, like, I think one of those Gundam videos that we did where people were like, you should take this down. And I'm like, well, I'm not going to do that.
Yeah, that's not good. That's not going to happen.
Like the amount of shit that's on YouTube because one person doesn't like my video, I'm going to like delete it. No.
You bring up a good point, random person I've never met in my life.
It takes like 15 people to not like one of my videos for me to delete it.
And even then, not really.
Yeah. We also got a release date and a new trailer for Samurai Jack Battle Through Time.
Yeah, I'm excited about that.
Are you? I wasn't sure.
Yeah, I actually really liked the Samurai. Like A, Samurai Jack is the show, and B, the old PS2 Samurai Jack game I really liked.
I remember when I was looking at this, and then I think wasn't that PS2 game like kind of panned at the time. I mean,
it just wasn't like because it was a licensed game,
right?
Back in the
Cash grab
time frame.
Yeah,
but it was just this very simplistic beat 'em up kind of thing that wasn't bad. It just wasn't like anything to write home to. But I liked even that. So making something that's that, but even better, I'm all for that.
Yeah,
and it's adding a lot of the stuff from the last season they made. So.
Okay.
It could be very exciting.
I have not really ever watched Samurai Jack, so
it's amazing.
Know.
It's
I don't know.
It was one of the first shows that I watched that was like, this is even as when I was as young as I was like, this is just a stylish ass thing. And I even have an action figure I bought like 16 years ago of Jack. Still in my room now.
Level with me. Like, okay, nobody told me when I watched Avatar that like the first half, the 2/3 of the first season is like for babies.
No, that show's serious as hell from the beginning.
Samurai Jack?
Yeah, like the first episode is his like entire life just getting upended by a coup, and when he comes back at like the end of like the second episode, you find out his father has been like in slavery this entire time since he's been gone. Like it's serious as hell from the get go.
All right, maybe I'll give it a
like
shot.
There's a lot of jokes in it that are like you can consider like, oh, that was for kids, but it's fucked up.
I think the thing is that Aku looks goofy, like because I never watched the show.
Yeah,
but
he
like
looks
in the
like
trailers,
a
he
goofy
looks goofy. So also it reminds me a lot of that Frank Miller Ronin comic.
I could kind of see that.
Samurai in the Future, right? I just keep thinking about that.
It's still very much a fish out of water story because there's a lot of stuff that you can consider like, oh, is this for babies? But not really, because it's a guy who was like, he's almost like Batman, where he was trained by a whole bunch of different people to be good at damn near everything.
Yeah,
and then the only difference is that like he was finally going to defeat the guy. And he gets thrown into the future.
Okay.
And he has to deal with like life there, and he meets a bunch of different weird things. It was also how I discovered how censors are cool with you completely dismembering robots and not giving a shit. Because that's all he did was just like completely dismember robots.
Okay.
It's really good. I really, really like that show, and I 100% recommend it.
All right. 100%. And we got a release date, August 21st. So you can check that out. We also got... this is funny. We didn't get a full-on release date, but we did get confirmation that Yakuza Like a Dragon is going to be released in the West.
Nice.
It's going to have an English voice track, and it's going to be coming out sometime in November.
That's interesting.
Yeah. We also got a new trailer with this, which is all in English, which I don't know has been done before. Like, I'm pretty sure that all the actual like character dialogue hasn't been in English up until this point.
No, I don't think it has.
This one's a little goofy. I really hope this game does well. I'm really rooting for you, Yakuza Like a Dragon, because I don't want to go back to Kiryu Kazama, and I think that the idea of making a fucking Yakuza game that is also a 3-person fucking JRPG with weird like battles and magic and like orbital laser and a crawfish and shit. I don't know.
It's such a crazy idea.
I don't know. It's fucking crazy. It's fucking nuts. Like this best buddy is like a mage, like a street mage. And I'm like, whatever this is, I want it. It's too nuts and I just can't stand it. I want it.
It's kind of amazing.
I want it. Speaking of things that people want, we have all but confirmed that there's going to be a Mass Effect Trilogy remaster.
I don't know if I want that anymore nowadays, though.
Well,
it's just, I don't know. Maybe one day. Maybe that will cause me to finally replay Mass Effect again.
So the rumor is that March of next year, and the reason for that rumor is because the Art of Mass Effect Trilogy Expanded Edition was put up on Amazon with a release date of March of 2021. And it seems like a very, like, if you're going to do something with Mass Effect, you want to tie that into something.
It's possible, yeah.
So... and there's been rumored that the Mass Effect is going to be remastered. I wonder if they remaster if they'll take out all the Mako shit in the first game.
That's the thing. Like the one that needs the most work is the first one.
Well, Mafia.
And what would they do? Like what would they do for those sequences is what I mean.
Yeah.
Like, will they just replace it with the way the second one was, or maybe even the way the third one was? I don't know. There's a lot of stuff that went on in the first one that you could just easily have missed.
I think that if they were to like do a lot of work on the first one and then take out all the multiplayer from the third one, I would be willing to do that. And then
take away the weird system that needed to be done to get because you had to get like enough support or whatever.
The like readiness
And the multiplayer was part of that, as well as this phone game thing.
Yeah.
If you get rid of both of those things together,
Yes.
that'd be great.
I mean, I'd love it if they go back and just like redo them. Like I am amazed at that Mafia game. How much has been put into that Mafia
holy
game?
shit.
Like I did not think that Mafia 1 was anything to the point where people would. I mean, I knew there were fans of it, but I didn't think it was like that much that they would put that much work into it.
Also, I think Gamer Poop has ruined Shepard for a lot of people now.
I don't know what that is.
It's the somebody made like a series of videos where they make it to where the Mass Effect people say like fucked up things.
Oh,
And they're really funny. There's like 8 of them out there, and they're so popular. Even the voice actor for male Shepard will quote it at conventions for people.
okay.
I have to show it to you later.
Yeah. Speaking of BioWare, I don't know if you know this, but you can now play Star Wars: The Old Republic on Steam.
Oh, nice.
Because they've been funneling EA stuff back into Steam, you no longer have to install their fucking stupid malware on your system.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I mean, you just straight up play it on Steam. Like, and you know what? You should, because I actually think Star Wars: The Old Republic is one of the best MMOs I've ever played. I think it's actually a very good Star Wars game. I just think that people didn't want to play an MMO. Like
People were excited about the idea of another KOTOR, not what ended up happening.
Right. But I think that the different factions are really amazing, and especially the way that they interact with each other. Because, like, on the Rebel side, you know, there's, like, the troopers, smugglers, and then a few different Jedis. And then on the other side, it's, like, the Siths, and then, like, bounty hunters and, like, Imperial Agent, which is, like, a rogue class. And that was my favorite because I've told this story before. I've never been able to get over how happy I was because there's this whole sub-quest where like the Imperial agents have to go clean up a bunch of shit that the Sith have done, and they're just like, the fucking Sith, man. They just go to a place and they're just like, oh, we gotta fucking kill everybody because that's our religion, and then we have to come in and make sure that they don't revolt and like clean up all the shit that they've done. And then meanwhile, these fucking religious zealots are out there with their red lightsabers like, I challenge you, master, to a duel, and I gotta fucking go to Kashyyyk and tell the Wookiees they're not gonna be back for a while, okay? Like, I just love the idea of the Empire having to go around being like, look, I don't like them either. I don't like them either. All right, I'll give you like a spaceship, and
I'm a big fan of that sort of dumb, like the weird, like lower shit that's going on that's caused by that sort of thing.
Yeah,
like they showed that Star Trek cartoon that they're working on.
Oh, the like lower decks thing.
I like the idea of that, like the guys who come in, you know, after first contact.
Yeah. Also, if you don't remember them, now might be a great time to go back and watch all those fucking amazing blur cutscenes that they made for Star Wars: The Old Republic.
Holy shit.
There were like 3 of them, and they were all great.
People still like will randomly use those as like examples of like, look, they're making a movie based on this thing. Like, no, that's just
it's a 5-year-old cutscene, bro.
Yeah, like, but that's how good they still look because people still get tricked by that all the time.
Man, don't fuck with blur. Kill It With Fire has a new demo. I haven't played it yet, but if you don't like spiders, now you can throw like Molotov cocktails and bombs and shit at them.
Yeah, that's a great idea for a game.
Pretty amazing. And then we're gonna wrap up with a bunch of Nintendo news. Mario Kart for World Tour for phones. You can finally, you're finally going to be able to play it in fucking landscape instead of portrait mode.
That's weird.
It's strange that it took this long to do that.
That's so odd.
But yeah, apparently you're finally be able to play the game. Well, it kind of makes sense when you think about Mario Kart that you need to be able to see far in front of you, not necessarily as much to the left and right of you.
How are you going to find them shortcuts, though?
I don't know. I'm not playing that game because
I don't even know how it works.
You remember when that game first came out? It turns out that like most of the races were with bots, but that they made the bots have like usernames to trick people into thinking they were winning races.
That was the thing, yeah.
I have not been super happy with Nintendo's phone offerings, but then
I don't think anyone really has.
I don't like any phone offerings. I was very happy with Smash Brothers, and somebody online did a thing where they made all the Smash Brothers characters with masks on.
Oh, that's fun.
Which is great. It's because you should wear them. You should wear them.
Does Meta Knight have one? Because that would be fucking funny.
I don't know. I
like that the detail the Dr. Mario one though, because he has the face shield too.
Oh yeah,
I was like, that's kind of fun actually.
Yeah.
If anyone would have it, that would be that motherfucker.
Yeah. These are all pretty good. I mean, obviously, it's just like, a fucking afternoon with Photoshop. We don't have time to go through all that. Yep, Meta Knight does have one.
Well, they put a mask on Meta Knight who has a mask on. That's kind of funny.
Yep, they put a mask on Mr. Game and Watch. He barely has a mouth.
Olimar too, and he's got a fucking spacesuit on.
Yep. Let's see. There's a pretty cool thing that I've seen show up a few times recently. This Hori gamepad thing, which is like a replacement for the Joy-Cons.
Oh, that's interesting.
But it has like actual handle grips on it, which is kind of interesting. It actually has a full-on D-pad as well. So if you like to play your Switch out of the dock, you might check this out. There are a few drawbacks. No rumble. And they aren't powered, so you can't disconnect them. They have to draw power from the system.
So it uses the system's power?
Yes. Yeah.
Okay, so it would drain it that much faster?
Yes.
That's fascinating. It's still a good way of doing it, though.
Yeah, it is still interesting. And last but not least, I know that I'm not a fan of Paper Mario and other people are, but apparently Nintendo also loves Dongleclease, Michael, because there's just a fucking dick in Super Paper Mario, the Origami King. Apparently, there's
look at that thing.
Giant toad statue with treads that zooms around in the desert, and you get a little pedestal of it. But between the treads and the fact that Toad's hat looks like the dick top, it just looks like a fucking dick. Also, I don't know if you noticed this, but it's relic number 69.
Oh my god! They knew whoever did this.
Oh yeah,
knew exactly what he was doing.
Oh, they did. They totally did.
You sons of bitches.
So there you go.
Let's see how long that lasts.
There you go. Don't anybody tell the moms. Nobody tell the moms that there's a dick.
Somebody's gonna find out
in Super Mario thing.
This reminds me of that story when they talked about releasing the something on the Wii. I think it was the Wii. It was the drawing thing for Wii or whatever. And the people who were making it had to warn Nintendo. People are going to want to draw dicks with this thing.
First thing.
And Nintendo was like, why would anyone want to do that? And then so they didn't make a filter for it.
It was the Plaza, right?
Yeah, I think it was the Plaza.
And then the little drawings come up from the different characters.
Yeah, they didn't make a filter for it originally. Yep. And so it was just dicks all over the place. Yep. And they were like, oh dear.
Yep. Yes, sir. Dicks everywhere. And that is where we're going to end our show on Dicks Everywhere. Yep. Michael, tell the people where they can find you on the internet when you are not over here.
You can find me on oneofus.net. And I do a lot of reviews there.
Okay. And you can find me at mail@rageslike.com or right here or wherever fine dicks are sold. Just, go down to the dick store, get 12.
They're running out of you.
Yeah, that's right.